Welcome to Nimmin Live, the #1 place on the internet to learn about YouTube, network with other content creators, and have an awesome time doing it. My name is Nick, and today I'm answering your YouTube questions. So if you have a question about what it is that you are doing on YouTube, there's a form down in the description of this live stream right now where you can get your questions answered if you put your question in that form. So make sure that you do that right now because there's not a lot in there. I actually have to open it, but I just restarted my system, so I know that there's not a lot in there. But anyway, I hope everybody is doing awesome. I hope that you are having a good week. Hope that the last videos that you've published has done great. And I hope that you're feeling awesome today and that you are ready to learn about YouTube. And make sure, if you do not yet, make sure that you have your notepad ready just in case you pick up a tidbit today and you think to yourself like, hey, maybe I need to explore that particular idea, or maybe I need to look at my YouTube channel and see, with what it is that he's talking about, see how that applies to what it is that I'm doing, and so on. So make sure you get your notepads out. Make sure that you go ahead and fill up your coffee cup. If you're just getting started over there in the morning, make sure you grab your tea. Make sure you grab that nice warm, maybe a warm milk or something if you're, over on another side of the planet where you should be sleeping, or, you're starting to wind down, for your Saturday. But I want to let you know that this stream is brought to you by actually, before we get into this, I want to let you know, if you are watching this on the replay, this entire stream is led by the questions that are asked here on the stream. So it's jam-packed with helpful YouTube information that's going to help you learn more about YouTube and help you apply a lot of these things to your YouTube channel. So feel free to skip around the stream, and I guarantee you're going to find something that you're going to enjoy here. So with that out of the way, this stream is brought to you by Tubebuddy, which is the #1 tool for YouTube content creators. Tubebuddy has 90 different tools to help you with your YouTube channel. Everything from testing your thumbnails through their A/B testing feature, their keyword explorer, which helps you come up with great video ideas and actually make sure that the topic that you're covering is something that you can compete for. The phrase that you're covering, something that you can compete for. In addition to that, they have tons of bulk tools and things like that. Just an awesome tool. 90 different things that you can use to help you with your YouTube channel. You can try that at tubebuddy.com/Nimmin, and there's a link to that down in the description below. And of course, this stream is brought to you by StreamYard. StreamYard is the live streaming platform that I'm streaming this with right now. And I've used StreamYard because it's super easy. It's really easy for me to bring guests on. So if I want to have somebody join the stream, I can just by sending them a link. It's really easy. I can add graphics to the screen like you're seeing on the screen right now. And in the event that my electric goes down or anything like that, or my internet goes down or my computer crashes, StreamYard keeps my stream open in the cloud so I can restart everything and then just come right back in without skipping a beat. So you can try StreamYard for yourself at StreamYard.com, or of course I'll get a link to that one down in the description as well. So hope that you're doing awesome. Hope everybody's excited to learn about YouTube today. Hope everybody is just kind of pumped up. Hope that you're feeling good. All of those things as we get into this today. Michael Ferb, thank you for the super chat. I appreciate it. Thank you for that. Paul Beck, Drywall Tube in the house. What's up, my dude? Hope you're doing awesome. Chantel, hope that you are doing great. Brad, Magic Flying Potato, hope that you're rocking, my man. Albie-tastic, nice to see you in here as well. My voice is a bit raspy. Yeah, so I was slamming coffee, and to be honest, man, I took a nap. Not too long ago. I had this huge lasagna, and after that lasagna, I was like, man, all this pasta, man, it's just coming down on me. So I had to take a quick nap. So I just woke up from that, about probably 25 minutes ago. So that could also be some of the raspiness. But hey, I'm here today to add value to you through answering your YouTube questions. So if you're just joining us, make sure that you get your question into the form that is down in the description of this stream right now. Tom Nash, hope that you're doing awesome, man. Saying my voice is awesome. Radio voice sounds good. That's what I like to hear. Great feedback. Thank you, my man. I appreciate it. So let's go ahead and get started. Let's go ahead and just go ahead and start crushing some of these questions here. So Hero King Ruse TYH says they do gaming and commentary content. The goal of the channel is to start their career And the question is, I have an idea for a series, but the problem being I have tests coming left and right constantly, being unable to upload consistently, decided to pre-prepare videos in preparation for when I have time to upload them within the next year. Maybe is this decision ideal? That particular question, in terms of, like what's ideal, I can't say yes or no because of course, all the different things that that's going on in your life is going to dictate how much time you have to put into your YouTube efforts. So because of that, it really comes down to, you just thinking through, where do I have little pockets of time that I can work on my channel just kind of here and there so I can make sure I can consistently put out content. One thing that I do want to let you know though, is if you are publishing or if you are making the content, you're just storing it on your hard drive, I would just go ahead and start getting it out there. So instead of posting, every week or something like that, if you're not going to be able to keep up with that schedule, just start posting every 2 weeks, just so you can get used to uploading to YouTube. You can also, by doing that, you're going to start getting experience so that once you do start, being able to upload on a consistent basis, you can just come in and swing it, right? Because you already know how to use the platform. You got all your settings right. You've already learned a little bit about how people respond to your videos. You can start to get an idea of how people are responding to your thumbnails and your titles and the topics that you're coming up with and all of that. So because of that, I would actually recommend that you do start, just going ahead and uploading that content if you do have it, sitting there, just kind of waiting to go. But I just wouldn't put it all up there at once. What I would do is I would upload, and then I would think to myself, like, when's the next time that I would probably be able to upload if I had to make something right now? And then upload at that time for that next video that you already have made, so that in the background you can be working on new content as you're slowly dripping that new content or that content that you have out. So that's what I would do. Next up on our list here, this next question, just going ahead and getting started here. And if you are just joining us, get your question in the form down in the description. Right now, there's hardly any questions in there. So if you get your question down there now, really good chance that you will get it answered here on the stream today. So I had to restart my computer before the stream as well. So I'm in the process of getting all of that stuff kind of reset up here. So bear with me as I do that, but I'm not going to spend too much time on it. I'm just trying to get a little bit of nice, comfortable, relaxing background music, for you while we're sitting here chilling on the stream. But while I'm doing that, the next question that we have here is from KD Legion. KD Legion says they upload when they have time. They've been making videos for a year or more. The goal of the channel is to get 100 subscribers. Do me a favor really quick. Go ahead and drop in the chat right now how many subscribers you have. Everybody. Drop how many subscribers you have in the chat right now. Just kind of curious where you guys are at. I know most of the people that hang out here, I know most people are around that 1,000 subscribers or less mark, and really that's the bulk of YouTube in general. But I'm just curious to see, just drop how many subscribers you have here in the chat. I'm just curious to see. 67,000, 45,000, 75, 10, 44, 249, 1172, 600, 800. Nice. Good stuff here. Hot breath in here with 17,000, almost 18,000, getting close. High five and fist bump to you. Bruce Wang here with 162,000. Congratulations to you on that. Paul Peck, 225,000. So we've got, a decent Tom Nash, 277,000. What was the one that came in under him here? We got Carol's Art Room at 77,000. We've got XXX Panda at 668. We've got Super Noob here at 2664. So we got, all kinds of, we got a wide range in here. We got a lot of play buttons in here as well. So congratulations to all of you, with the play buttons, high five and fist bump. And for everybody, like if you are just heading in the right direction, tech industry with 7. So just getting started here. So one thing I want to let you know, tech industry here with number 7 there. So, for everybody that's just getting started, if you see, some of these numbers, the very first thing that I do want you to just look at is just how normal, where you are, right? How normal it is where you are right now. And I just want you to know that you are heading in the right direction with what it is that you're doing. So I just want you to kind of take note of all the numbers that you see here so that you can just kind of get an idea of, kind of like what's normal, so to speak, with what it is that you're doing, or where you're at in your journey, so to speak. So the question is, the games that I see in the mobile app store either are are probably fun for views, but boring to play or just complete boring. In your general opinion, how can I make videos that are at least fun to watch with how some of the games are in the mobile app store? Pick the games that you enjoy the most. Pick the games that you have fun with. And the reason that you want to do that is because when you're playing the game, if you think it sucks, people are going to feel that it sucks, right? Because they're going to get that vibe off of you because you're not going to enjoy playing it. Play the stuff that you love to play. And the reason that you want to do that is because YouTube is a long game. You know, you're going to hear all over YouTube. You're going to hear any YouTube community that you hang out in. You're going to hear people say that YouTube is a marathon, not a sprint. So because of that, you want to make sure for the sake of long-term sustainability that you're doing things that you enjoy, right? Because if you're doing something that you don't enjoy just for the sake of, you know, getting a video out there or a handful of videos out there, then what you're doing is you're walking in the wrong direction, right? Because you want to make sure that you're enjoying this entire process. Because it's awesome being a YouTube content creator. It's awesome being able to, you know, do this. So even, you know, professionally or as a hobby. So because of that, you know, I really encourage you to just kind of embrace that, you know, marathon nature of YouTube and just think like, okay, you know what, if I'm going to do this for a long time, I'm going to at least make sure that I'm doing something that I enjoy, because I don't want to just, you know, wake up every day and be like, oh man, I got to make another video about something that I loathe, right? Because that'll make the whole thing, you know, the whole experience, it'll make it kind of suck for you. And we definitely do not want the experience to suck for you. So because of that, I recommend that you play the stuff that you enjoy, and not even playing games. Like for people that don't play games, for whatever content that you're making, try to make the stuff that you enjoy, because you know, at the end of the day, you know, you're spending your time. You're going to spend a ton of time doing this stuff, and as you're spending all this time doing this stuff, you're that's time you could be spending doing something else. So you might as well spend it on things that you enjoy, right? So next question that we have here on our list, and this is question number 3, just kind of moving right along here. We've got LHN Family Gaming says that they do gaming content. The goal is to eventually do this full time. And the question is, hey, Nick, can you give some tips on how to best start set up content to be more binge worthy and keep new viewers on the channel longer? Thank you and love all you do. Thank you for the kind words. I appreciate it. So in terms of making your channel binge worthy, that's why we talk about, that's why anything that you watch on YouTube, it doesn't matter if it comes from YouTube, it doesn't matter if it comes from a YouTube help channel, it doesn't matter if it comes from a channel that's established, like everybody on YouTube that has any type of success or kind of knows how things work here. The thing you're going to hear is the importance of making sure that you are serving a particular audience, right? And by serving an audience, what I mean by that is that you have at the very least a base understanding of, okay, I'm trying to reach people that are into, let me kind of move this here. It's kind of, there we go. Let me try to reach people, or I'm trying to reach people that are into these specific things like I am. So I'm trying to connect with like-minded people, right? At the very least, do that. And the reason that you want to do that is because when you are putting your content together, when you're serving a particular audience, all you have to do is just run your video ideas through a filter. Is this going to add value or be entertaining? You know, whatever type of value you provide to your viewers, is this content that I'm thinking of putting out, is this going to be something that those people that I'm trying to reach would be interested in? If it's yes, then go ahead and make that video. If it's like, nah, probably not, or not really sure, if it's on the not really sure side, but there's a chance that it could be, that's where you would throw that one out as a piece of experimental content. But if it's like, nah, probably not, then you know not to make that video, right? So in terms of making your channel binge worthy, you know, the idea is to just make sure that you are targeting a specific audience of people that are interested in a specific thing, so that if they come in on one of your videos, doesn't matter what video on your channel, if they are interacting with your content, then YouTube starts presenting more of your content to them on the home pages and, you know, suggested videos. If they start recommending more of your content, then you want your content to be relevant to those people and something that they would be interested in. So that's why making sure that you're understanding the audience that you're trying to reach with your content is super important. Let's see here. So Tom Nash said to tell them to watch the interview that Mr. Beast did with Colin and Samir. So watch the interview that Mr. Beast did with Colin and Samir. There you go, Tom. So let's see here. So Lenny the Lawyer says, let me turn that down just a tad here to kind of match this. So Lenny the Lawyer says, hey, Nick, I know that you said the device by your keyboard is connected to a computer, but what software do you use and what kind of monitor are you using? I need something good to be able to read from. So this device here, let me switch to, turn that off. So this device here is the thing that's switching all of the cameras. That's what this is. The one down here on the bottom, this is for the audio. So this is a Rodecaster Pro, and the one up here on the top is an ATEM Mini Extreme. So this handles all the cameras. You can get smaller ones too, but this one handles all the cameras, and then this one down here handles the audio. And both of these actually plug directly into the computer. So, so because of that, all I have to do when I'm, selecting like that gear cam, so to speak, is, I just turned off my macro, which makes everything switch automatically. I just turned that off, and then I turned on this specific camera to highlight the gear. And then basically all I have to do to get all the camera switching again is I just have to hit one of the macro buttons, and then it'll go through that process of switching those around as well. In terms of the monitor itself, this is a Dell monitor, and it lays down, relatively flat. And the cool thing about this is, and the whole reason that I just changed this setup completely is the monitor that I had here before. It's still, I still have it. It's back here. But that monitor that I had before, it sits up pretty high. So the camera had to be up, kind of pointing down at me. And I'm just not a fan of that, especially when I'm making video content. So because of that, I was like, hey, I'm going to get an updated monitor, going to bring the camera down a little bit. So the shot itself is just a little bit more pleasant. But in terms of the monitor, the name of the monitor, off the top of my head, I know it's a Dell, but in terms of the actual model number, I'm not sure. But if you want to send me a DM on Twitter or on Facebook, then I'll get the model number for you after the stream today. Buddha Slim, what's up, man? Hope you're doing awesome. Says, love your content, bro. Thank you for the kind words. Super appreciated there, Buddha Slim. So next up here on our list, and this one's going to come from the form as well. And if you're just joining us, I do want to let you know that the questions right now are being pulled from the form that's down in the description. And as the stream progresses, right, because these are the priority questions right now, or the place where I'm going to answer the questions, because this is, the early birds get the worms, so to speak. So that's where that's why I'm pulling them from the chat right now, or from the form right now. But later in the stream, we're going to be pulling them from the chat. So if you're like, hey, there's something I want to know, but the form's starting to get filled up, then in that case, that's totally cool. You can just wait until later in the stream when we are, pulling the questions directly out. Sleeper Barbecue, what's up? Hope you're doing awesome. Smoking Joe Barbecue, also in the house. What's up, dude? Hope you're doing great. So next question that we have is from Marcus Presents. Marcus Presents says that they do communication tips. The goal of the channel is multiple streams of income. Question, good evening, Nick. We use a dynamic microphone on the stand-up comedy stage almost always without the foam windscreen. The same goes for singers. Almost everyone on YouTube and live streamers do the foam windscreen. What are the benefits? It just kind of helps with plosives and things like that. So here with this particular one, so it comes with this, and then it comes with a bigger one also. And in some cases, if you're just really doing a lot of P's and B's and that kind of stuff, it can, cause just like a thud kind of to hit the capsule inside. Whereas these microphones, and I know what you're talking about because you're basically just saying to use it, like this. With these microphones, these are actually made to where it kind of cancels out some of that stuff, and it's just not as extreme, right? So like what you're talking about, like I've got, like the Shure SM, I think they're like SM58s, I think. Like I've got some of those over there, mic'd up to like bongas and things like that. And I've actually, experimented with those here and all of that as well. And they can actually sound really good. But I think the reason that a lot of content creators use the windscreens on here is because these mics do pick up a lot. And also when you're connecting to like devices like the Rodecaster, it's processing audio. So there's a lot of stuff also happening through that processing. And you want to make sure that you're trying to get just as smooth of a signal going in here without a bunch of things that like, the plosives and things like that, because the Rodecaster itself can also compensate or try to compensate for some of those kind of in real time, and it can kind of whack everything out in terms of how things sound. SM Postcards, welcome to the stream. Hope you're doing great. So let's see here. So as we keep on going through the list here, we've got... Yeah, I also have, in my loop station that I have, you can also plug the SM78 directly into that one. And it's the same thing too, to where you can, you can turn the mic up and down, so that the way that it's made, with the SM57s is like when you plug it into that machine, for example, like you can have like music going on behind you. And that's one of the things that also kind of shuts down all of the background noise with those mics, to where, you know, you can get it right up in your face and kind of scream into it, and that's fine. It'll pick that up, but it's not going to pick up all that stuff behind you. DJ Cook in the house. What's up, dude? Hope you're doing great. Says, I need a good mic that can be out of the shot. So I recommend, just as a heads up, like this will come with, let me show you here really quick. Oh, we're there now. So this one right here is a Rode NTG3. If you like how my audio sounds in my videos, this Rode NTG3 is connected to a Zoom H4n, and that ends up, you know, giving me some pretty solid audio. So so I recommend both of those as the combo, because it's an XLR mic, which means that you're going to have to plug it into something to get it into the computer, or even into your camera. So because of that, the Zoom H4n, it works as an interface for a computer, or you can plug the line out directly into the camera. Let's see here as we keep on going through the list here. Drew Project in the house. What's up, dude? Hope you're doing great. Says, your voice is not organic, it's processed. Absolutely, it is. So next question that we have is from Random Lifestyle Vlog. And really quick before we answer that one.
Welcome to the Nimminati.
Jason, Terrifying House of Obsession, welcome to the Nimminati. When you get the chance, before the stream is over today, if you can, go to nimminvip.com. That is it's going to redirect you to our members only Facebook group. Fill out all the information on the way in, because that's how I verify that you're a member. If you can do that before the stream ends today, then I will get you in there as soon as the stream is complete. I got to check my thing here. And Moments with Diva, same exact thing for you as well.
Welcome to the Nimminati.
Make sure that sometime during the stream today that you go to nimminvip.com, so I can make sure to get you into that group after the stream is complete. And by the way, if you are a channel member, because I know a lot of you don't even, you're not even in the Facebook group, so you're missing out if you're not in that Facebook group. So if you are a channel member, make sure that you do get in there. Self-publishing with Dale, my man. Hope that you are doing fantastic. Nice to see you in here as well. Ron Trains and Things. What's up, dude? Hope that you are also doing fantastic. Okay, so next question that we have here on our list today is from Random Lifestyle Vlog. The question is, they have a cosmetics, lifestyle, and beauty channel. The goal of the channel is to make it into a career, go full time. And the question is, after having a busy Christmas period, we've just faced a large drop in CTR. How do you come back from your peak period? So in terms of the CTR drop, that's normal. In terms of, there's tons of advertising going on for the holidays, for obvious reasons. So because of that, what happens is, the ad inventory drops, competition drops, all that good stuff, and that can cause the CPMs to go lower. So just a heads up, that's normal. So you're not experiencing anything that's after you. But the way that you get around this sort of thing and the general fluctuations that happen with YouTube ads, so that you're not living and dying necessarily by the view counts of each individual video, is to diversify how you're making money from your YouTube channel. And what I mean by that is there's different ways that you can make money. You can make money through having your own products or services. You can make money through affiliate marketing, especially if you're doing cosmetics, lifestyle, beauty stuff like you are, making money through affiliate marketing, sending people to Amazon, things like that, or directly to the places where they can buy it if they have affiliate programs. Crowdfunding in terms of sending people over to Patreon or Ko-Fi or Buy Me a Coffee or something like that. Merch, like Spreadshop, for example. If you look under this live stream right now, of course, depending on where you are in the world, you'll see my merch shelf that is there from Spreadshop, part of Spreadshirt. But basically with Spreadshop, you don't have to have that merch shelf. So in terms of, that shelf showing up on YouTube, you have subscriber requirements for it. But in order to create a merch store, all you have to do is have a design made, go to spreadshirt.com, upload that design, and then create your store, which is all free. The only thing that isn't free is having the design made, but it's super cheap if you hop on Fiverr, or there's even apps that will help you do it for free. But basically you upload your design to Spreadshop. And then when you do that, you can just take the link to your store, put that in the description, and then just let people know that you have your merch available available, through that link in the description. So you don't even have to have that merch shelf there in order to be able to, make money through merch as well. But there's a lot of ways to make money from your YouTube channel. So I really recommend that you just start exploring other ways, so that when you do have those drops in CPMs, or maybe you're just going through, a period of time to where your channel just isn't performing like you would like it to, because you're, preoccupied or whatever the reason is, then in that particular case, you still have some of those other things that are helping, to float you along while your ad rates are down a little bit. So let's see here. So next question on our list here. Let me scroll down here. We got the Raging Wizards. Love that channel name. The picture it paints. Says, hey, Nick, I make a horror series on YouTube, like a mini TV show, but there's this animation video that keeps getting recommended and not my better work. What can I do to get better, to get my better work out there? So in terms of the content that gets recommended on your YouTube channel, it's going to be dependent on the content on your channel that performs. So if you have content that is performing well in terms of viewers are satisfied by it, you have, a competitive click-through rate, you have competitive average view duration, you have competitive engagement, you're keeping people on the platform, you're not ending sessions on your channel, that type of stuff, then the videos that perform well, because I went into like a whole other area there, but let's back that up a little bit. So as long as you're getting people to click on your content at a competitive rate, watch it at a competitive rate, and further engage, with your content at a competitive rate, then YouTube is going to continue to show that content to people. So what you can do is you can actually go in and you can compare the stats compared to the impressions that you have on the video that's always getting shown to people versus the ones that are not, and it's going to start to come clear in terms of what the numbers look like on why one video is doing better than the other. But then you have to start breaking down, like you have to get past the numbers, and you have to make sure that you're thinking of it from the perspective of these numbers that I'm looking at are a reflection of how people are interacting with my content. So if people clicked on this thumbnail more based on the stats that I'm getting from YouTube, if people are clicking on this thumbnail more from home pages, why do I think they click on it more from home pages instead of suggested? If they're clicking on it at a higher rate in search, but not on home pages, why do I think that is? Is it not, that compelling when I'm trying to grab attention versus people looking for my video? But it just gives you the opportunity to go in and start, breaking down the numbers that you see and just start thinking of, okay, the audience that I'm trying to reach, the people that I'm interacting with here, why do I think they responded better to this piece of content? Why do I think they watched this video longer than the other one? Why do I think they liked this video more, gave it more comments, all those types of things, so that you can come up with all these different theories on why you think people, are enjoying that content more. And then you can start testing those theories on new content that you upload until you kind of fine tune things down to where, you have it to where most of the videos that you put out, or all the videos that you put out, do substantially better. Let's see here, but I'm not sure if I mentioned it or not, because I'm still kind of hitting my stride here. I'm still kind of getting loosened up, but just in case I didn't, make sure that you are using that compare tool in your analytics, because when you do have content that is performing, it's getting recommended a lot, then you can just kind of start to see why, and understanding why in terms of just what the numbers look like, and then thinking through the human side of that can really take you a long way when it comes to your YouTube channel and help you start applying a lot of new things to your channel that will help move you forward faster. Let's see here. Eve, hi. Hope that you're doing fantastic. So let's see here. As we keep on going down the list here, we got that one taken care of. Let me keep on scrolling down here. Urban Van Life, Neil, my man, hope you're doing great. Says, testing the Pinterest advice from your last video. So far, we're getting good views and pushed a handful of people over to YouTube. Fantastic. Love to hear that. So what he's talking about, just in case you also just in case you haven't watched my last video that I put out on the channel, I published it last Monday. That video just shares actionable advice about how you can use other social media platforms in ways that people don't normally use them in order to get more attention on your YouTube channel. So I have it pinned at the top of the chat right now. If you haven't checked that out yet, make sure that you do. And awesome to hear that that's working out for you already, Neil. Let's see, a random lifestyle vlog says they also have spread shop. Fantastic. Love seeing that. Okay, so as we keep on going, Wayne's Rex recordings. Is that what that is? trying to figure that out. Says, Nick, thanks so much for your awesome tips. My pleasure. Glad you're enjoying the content. Says, since January, I've gone from 30 views a day to 700 daily views. Implementing a lot of your suggestions definitely helped. Thanks again. High five and fist bump to you. Love your glasses, by the way. The white frames there look super, super cool. I'm a fan of like cool glasses. And those look awesome. So high five to you for those, and more so for the going from 30 views a day to 700 views a day. So, in your case, like as you're starting to pick up momentum like that, what you want to make sure that you're doing, just, so I can, give a tip to you if you don't mind. Like once you start picking up that momentum, you're like, hey, things are increasing. That's where it's really important to go in and start breaking down. I mentioned the compare tool in your analytics before. So there's also a grouping tool, just in case you're not familiar. If you go into your analytics, go into advanced mode, you're going to see your channel name. Once you're in advanced mode, click on your channel name, and then that's going to have a little box pop up. On the far right-hand side of that, there's a little tab called groups. When you click on groups, then you have the option, if you don't have any in there yet, where you can create a new group, and then you can group together different sets of content that you have. So as you start to pick up momentum, the reason that you want to use this is because then you can start to break things down. You can use this for a ton of different things, but the thing that I'm telling you now is you can start breaking down, like, okay, out of all the content that I have on my channel so far, as the type of content, what are people responding to most? So like, let's say, for example, because your channel name, it doesn't make it clear for me in terms of what it is that you make, but let's just say you make tech content, right? One of the ways that you could use this is you could say, okay, this is a group of Apple products. This is a group of, Windows, things that I covered. This is smart devices that I covered, things like that. And you can start putting these things into groups so that you can compare them against each other, and you can start figuring out which content as a whole performs better on your channel, so that you can kind of accelerate things that way by leaning into the stuff that is proven to perform more on your channel for the people that YouTube is showing your content to. So so definitely make sure that you're doing that in this moment right now where you're starting to pick up momentum. Let's see here. So as we keep on going down the list here, T said what T said. Vintage Celebrity Scandals said.
Super chat.
Hey, Nick, I get about 4,000 subs a month. Most of my videos get 10,000 to 100,000 views, and I earn over 5,000 per month in ad revenue. I'm thinking about changing my channel name. Would this potentially hinder my progress? No, it's not going to hinder your progress, but if people are looking for you a lot, what I would make sure that you do is I would make sure, at least on your About Me page, that somewhere you put, where it says your channel name, but then it says, formally, T said what T said, Vintage Celebrity Scandals, and you just kind of make that reference in like a few of your high performing videos in the description, make that reference in your About Me page, because at first, like, YouTube is going to figure it out, but as time passes, if you have somebody that's interacted with your channel like some time ago and then they come in later, then, if they're like, oh no, I can't find the channel anymore, then in that particular case, that will just kind of help you show up a little bit more on YouTube when people are looking for you. But in terms of the channel itself, one other thing that you want to think about if you change your channel name, like when you're growing that rapidly, is if you do have a really hyper engaged audience, if you're not in your thumbnails, or you don't have any type of branding in your thumbnails to help people recognize that it's your content, some people will be using that channel name to recognize that it's yours. So because of that, if you're not using some type of consistent element in your thumbnails to help people identify that it's your content, then for your current audience, I would make sure that you do start doing that, either before you do the name change so they can see it and get kind of used to it, so that you can make sure that you still have a way for them to know that it's yours, even though the name looks different. Let's see here. So as we keep on going down the list, I think that catches us up to date here. Let me hop into my mission control and confirm over on this side. And while that's loading, I'm going to hop into the forum for another question. So the next question that we have here on our list is from Rodsters TV. Rodsters TV says they do a motorcycle review channel. The goal is becoming the #1 motorcycle channel in the world. Love it. And the question is, hey, Nick, I'm about to launch the English-speaking version of my French motorcycle review channel. Would you think it's a good idea to reach a wider audience? Is there any kind of risk having the two channels living simultaneously with the same thumbnail? So in terms of the thumbnail, if you are using any type of text in your thumbnail, then that would be the separation in terms of the thumbnails, because you are, you're going to have French on one, you're going to have English on another one. But if you're just using the imagery and you're not using any text at all, then in that case, you'll be fine when it comes to the thumbnails because you are targeting 2 different markets. But in terms of the actual content itself, I would just make sure that, as long as you're doing the voiceover on that content and there is something different about it when you upload it to the English version of the channel, then you're totally good to go there. But on the thumbnails themselves, if you do use text, then of course you would be changing that. But if not, you'll still be okay. But just because you're going into different markets. But if it was me, I would still experiment, because the reason I would experiment with your thumbnails is because French people might not respond to the same things the same exact way that, someone in the US would. So because of that, go ahead and start with your current thumbnails. But if your videos underperform or something like that, then I would start experimenting with your thumbnails a little bit more, for the sake of making sure that you're able to, nail what they respond to in the US, UK, Australia, everywhere else where they speak English, Philippines, everywhere. So let's see here. So next up on the list here, we've got, had a super chat come in. I'm going to answer that here really quick as well. Moments with Diva says, do you think that any amount of subscriber is too small to start a merch store, though I would do it? So here's my opinion on monetizing your YouTube channel, especially if you're somebody that is, like, if you're someone that is wanting to do this full time or as a side income, or you're wanting to leverage YouTube in any way, shape, or form to generate income. If it's, full time or part time, or even just like some, coffee money or whatever the thing is, if you're trying to use YouTube for that, then I'm of the belief that you should monetize as fast as you possibly can, at least in some ways, so that you can go ahead and start getting that ball rolling. And the reason for that is because you don't know if the next video that you publish is going to be the one that ends up taking off and starting your initial momentum on your channel. So with every video that you publish that you do not have these alternate ways of monetizing outside of ads, that you don't have them built into it, for every video that you publish that doesn't have that, that's a piece of content that's not really working to drive you towards that goal, right? Because then you can only make money from it from ads, not from the other options that you have in terms of monetization. So because of that, I recommend that as your channel, even if you have 100 subscribers on your channel, start thinking, okay, is there anything that I can promote as an affiliate? Is there anything that, I'm going to set up a merch store. Is there anything that I can make, that I can offer people, as they're interacting with my content? And the reason you want to do this is because if you have, one of those videos in place where you just have that quick mention, that links in your description, and that video does well compared to all the other videos that you have on your channel, then that particular video could be the thing that starts creating some consistent income for you. And then let's say that the video that you publish after that one also does well. And then, hey, there's more money coming in, right? And then you just kind of keep stacking that up. Now, what ends up working in the other direction is, let's say you're like, hey, you know what? I'm just going to wait until I hit 1,000 subscribers on my YouTube channel, or until I hit, 5,000 subscribers on my YouTube channel. Then the situation that you put yourself in is, I'm trying to go full time. I'm trying to make this side hustle. I put in all this work. I've got all these videos, all these videos have all these views on them, but I'm not really making any real money on all of those videos. So I put in all of this work, and it was time where I was learning and, learning the craft and all that. So it's not like it's wasted, but in terms of, using that to also generate income, you kind of missed the opportunity if you don't start implementing some of those things now. So I definitely recommend that if you can, that you start implementing, those different monetization methods as fast as you possibly can. Dev Kumar Mina, thank you for the super chat. I appreciate it. So if you are just joining us, I do want to let you know there's a form down in the description of the stream right now where I'm pulling the questions from. It's randomized. So what that means is if you put your question in there, that it's, it's basically kind of, skipping through them, not skipping through them, but it's basically like randomly, pulling up different ones. But later in the stream, just as a heads up, I will be pulling questions directly out of the chat as well. But for right now, I'm just going through these. Actually, I think right now we're still set in the order that they're received. And then I'll turn it on the random here in just a little bit. So Jerry Paparandia, what's up, dude? Hope you're doing great. Says he does recipes and food reactions. The goal of the channel is to build a community around delicious food. Hey, a little side note about me. Delicious is one of my favorite words. Don't know why. I just love the way delicious sounds. But anyway, you'd think I'd be like a foodie because because delicious is one of my favorite words, but I'm not. But I just love the word delicious, and I don't know why. But anyway, question is, my live streams keep getting put in restricted mode before and after the stream, even though none of the metadata is anything that should get flagged, and it seems to keep changing back and forth. Is there anything that I should look at to make sure this doesn't keep happening? Look at your captions. Your captions can also cause that. So YouTube is auto captioning your live streams or auto captioning your videos, and then you have the option to make them available. And sometimes they'll just make them available automatically. So you might even actually with the settings on this stream, I'm not sure if you can see them in real time or not. But anyway, what you want to do is you want to go in and you want to double check your captions, especially actually if it's before the stream, then it would be the metadata. Like it would be the metadata, that would be causing that. But if it's after the stream, then in that case, or during the stream, then in that case, I would definitely go through and look at your actual captions. Let's see here. As we keep on going here, we've got Comedy Podcast. Comedy Podcast says the goal of the channel is to get 50,000 subscribers this year. The question is, my channel's been my comedy educational podcast clips that mainly attract other comedians. I'm looking to expand the audience to attract comedy fans and thousands of views instead of hundreds. Any tips to how to pivot the channel from just podcast clips without losing our core fan base? Absolutely. So what you want to think of is you've been trying to reach comedians in the past. So therefore, you're optimizing everything for comedians. Now you're not trying to do that anymore, which means that you need to change the way that you're doing things. So what I recommend that you do is if you want to tap into a broader audience, especially with entertainment type content, then in that particular case, it's really helpful and beneficial to start leveraging trends. And what I mean by that is even though you're doing comedy, start doing comedy around things that are popular, start doing comedy around, trending events that are happening in the world, start doing comedy around things that a lot more people are interested in than just comedians. And if you do that, that's going to help you broaden your audience substantially. Let's see here. So as we keep on going down this list here. So Natasha Desai, I apologize if I'm saying that incorrectly. Thank you for the super chat. Says, I'm starting a personal development channel. Our personal development and well-being channel. I'm super passionate about completing new to YouTube. Do you have any advice? Love your videos and advice. So here, I'm super passionate, but completely new to YouTube. Okay, yeah, absolutely. You know what? I'm going to pin this one if I can find it in the chat, because we're going to talk about this in for a second, because there's a lot of people here that are just getting started. So this information is going to be helpful for everybody. So when it comes to starting a new YouTube channel, the very first thing is you want to have expectations, but you want to make sure that you also curb those expectations and you understand just a couple of things. I'm going to give you some actionable stuff too. But when it comes to the expectations, just a few things that I want you to understand that's going to help you mentally as you're pushing through and you're, publishing content. Tons of content creators will start publishing videos and they'll have other, channels that they're looking at that they watch on a regular basis, things like that. And they'll be like, hey, I published this video on this topic that this other channel published on, and they got way more views on their content, right? And they don't keep in mind things like, oh, hey, guess what? That channel's been on YouTube for, 5 years already. That channel's been on YouTube for a year already, and you're just getting started. Therefore, they have a library of content. YouTube has a lot of data on their channel, things like that. So when it comes to, just getting started, how many people here are just getting started? Like just getting started, like you've just got maybe a couple of videos uploaded, like you're just walking in the door right now. If that's you, just let me know here in the chat. And that's going to help me gauge like how long to talk about this. But basically, just make sure that you are managing that expectation and that you're paying attention to the other people who make content like you, but you're focused on what it is that you're doing, and you're constantly trying to compete with yourself and be better than you were in your last video in every way that you possibly can. And what I mean by that is you're continually learning how to make better thumbnails. You're continually learning how to make better titles. You're continually learning, if you happen to be on camera, you're continually learning how to present better on camera. If you're doing voiceovers for anything, then in that case, you want to make sure that you're continually working on your voiceover presentation. You want to make sure that you're looking at YouTube, the website and the app as a whole, and that when you're watching other YouTube videos, that you're looking at things like, okay, let me go click into the description of this video right here and just kind of see how they have things set up. Let me go look at their homepage, see how they have things set up there. Let me see how many playlists they have on their channel page, the things that they're focused on and things like that, and just start really paying attention to how other content creators that are successful are using the platform. And that's going to help you just kind of fine tune what it is that you're doing to be something that is, just that matches that, right? Which is what you want to do. Brian G. Johnson in the house. What's up, my dude? Hope you're doing fantastic. But another thing that you also want to think about is that, when you're first getting started, yes, you want to try to commit to something in terms of like, hey, this is the type of content that I want to make, but you also want to make sure that you're looking at it from the perspective of like, I'm starting this with this content, but that doesn't mean that I have to constantly put this, particular type of content out. If I put out a handful of videos and I realize like, hey, you know what, I'm not enjoying this as much as I thought I would, then in that case, it's perfectly okay to change the direction of what it is that you're doing. But and this is a really important thing to make sure that you pick up from this. If you do make that switch, or if you're somebody that's just uploading, hey, I've got a video on, my vlog of me going to the mall. I've got a video on this tip that I have for picking out, good outfits. I've got this video here on, why I started a YouTube channel, and you just have all this random content going out. Then the same exact thing applies there, to where you make sure that as soon as you have a video that performs well, you start walking in the direction of that video, right? So let's say if it's a self-help video like what it is that you're making, then in that case, you make sure like, okay, I'm going to double down on this self-help content, even though I have other, experimental content. For anybody else that's just uploading random stuff, then in that case, it would be like, hey, I have this, cosmetic video, and that one started taking off. So now I'm going to start walking in the direction of makeup, because that is proven to work on my channel at this moment in time. And with that in mind, you also want to make sure that every video that you publish, if you are one of those people that are experimenting, you want to make sure that every video that you publish is something that you would be able to commit to for a long time to come. And the reason for that is because if you do start having, a certain type of content on your channel pop, you want to make sure that you can lean into that. You don't want to be like, oh no, the video that I just put up as like a joke is now taken off, and I don't want to make that type of content, because then it puts you in kind of a situation where it's like, okay, do I just shut that video down so I can make sure that, I'm growing an audience around this other stuff, even though that one's rocking, right? So, so you want to make sure you're doing that. In addition to that, it's also really important to know that when it comes to YouTube, a lot of people will publish content and they expect YouTube to just show their videos to people, and they do. But then if they are not getting views, they'll think like, oh, YouTube is, holding me back, or YouTube is, like they're not showing my videos to people or whatever. YouTube shows your videos to people. You can see it. It's called an impression. So when YouTube shows your video to somebody for more than 1 second on the platform, and they can fully see your thumbnail, then that counts as an impression. So if you go into your YouTube analytics, then you're going to see how many impressions YouTube is giving you, the channel as a whole, and you're also going to see it for each individual video. So that proves to you that YouTube is showing your videos to people. And if YouTube is showing your videos to people, but nobody's clicking on it, which means you're not getting any views, then you have to, and this is a hard part for a lot of content creators, you have to look in the mirror and you have to say, okay, YouTube's showing my stuff. It might not be to a lot of people, but they're showing my stuff to people, but people just aren't clicking on it. And that comes down to me. So that means that I need to make sure that I'm, working on how do I get people to click more, because of course, if you can get people to click more, then the actual views will start going up a little bit, but that doesn't guarantee performance. So what guarantees performance is you can get people to click at a competitive rate, but then once they start watching your video, they also watch your video at a competitive rate, and then they further engage with that video and or your YouTube channel. So what that means is if you want your videos to do well, people have to click on them a lot. People have to enjoy the content, because what YouTube's goal is to show people the right content at the right time that they're most likely to enjoy, and keep people satisfied with the platform so that they'll keep coming back, so that they can keep showing them ads. So because of that, you want to make sure that you're being very intentional about how you're putting your videos together. When your videos first open up, you're being very intentional about what it is that you're saying, for that first introduction when your videos first open up. If you're not talking in your videos, if you're not on camera, that's fine. But when your videos first open up, the things that people see and hear, whatever that happens to be for the type of content you make, is extremely important in terms of how the overall video is going to perform. So you want to make sure that you're spending a lot of time and being extremely intentional about what happens when your video first starts. And you want to make sure that you're defining through each different part of your video, because content creators, self-included sometimes, content creators have a tendency to just bloat their content. And what I mean by that is you put in a lot of stuff into your content that doesn't really add any real value to the story you're telling, or doesn't really add any value to the viewer, but it might look cool or, something like that. But at the end of the day, you want to focus everything on the value that you're adding to the viewer and the viewer experience overall. And if you can just work hard as you possibly can on learning how to get people to click, and tons of videos on YouTube about how to do graphic design, about how to use color, about not just in thumbnails, but just how to use color in general, because that stuff can apply to your sets, it can apply to your thumbnails, everything. But, videos on how to use color, how to do copywriting, because you're going to need that for being able to get people to click on your titles. And then, of course, watch tons of videos on editing so that you can constantly be improving what it is that you're doing. Because in order to compete here, like it's not, 10 years ago, right? It's not 15 years ago or whenever YouTube started. It's not then. It's now. And there's tons of really good content creators on YouTube. And there's also a lot of really good, and a lot of you are hanging out in here right now. There's also a lot of really good content creators that are on their way that you're also going to be competing with too. So since the platform is, dependent on how your videos perform, just make sure that you come to play and that you're willing to roll up your sleeves and you're willing to, learn what it is that you have to learn in terms of skill development in order to be competitive here on the platform. Because, and I'm just going to level with you here. If your titles and thumbnails are subpar, then people aren't going to click on them. If your videos are subpar, then when people click on them, they're going to end up leaving. So because of that, if you want to do well here on YouTube, like you got to come to play, right? And I know that when you first come on the platform, that with all of us, right? When everybody starts, we all start at zero. But when you come on the platform, you have to go through this learning curve. And for all of you that are just getting started on YouTube, that learning curve is also a filter. And what I mean by that is, and I actually made this post in Brian G. Johnson's group, I think it was today, in terms of this filter idea. But basically, on YouTube, there's a filter, and that filter is basically the determining factor on who does well on YouTube and who doesn't. And that filter is simply, what are you willing to do in terms of, what are you willing to learn? What skills are you, going to develop? Are you, willing to develop? What information are you willing to internalize and apply to your channel? How much time are you willing to spend in your analytics, understanding that? How much time are you willing to spend sitting on the sofa and thinking to yourself, the people that I'm trying to reach, what do they really care about? Like, what can I really do? What could I do in a video to really make them be like, wow, this is exactly what I've been looking for, right? Like, those are the types of things that you got to do in order to get yourself through that filter. And then once you get in that filter, then you kind of hit a stride and you can, and then you'll be okay. But that filter causes tons of people to end up stop doing YouTube because they're just not willing to do what it takes in order to get through that filter. Okay. YouTube isn't luck. I mean, of course, with everything, if you get a shout out from somebody or something like that, there's always, elements of luck. But in terms of long-term sustainability of a YouTube channel, it's not luck. It's a process that you learn and you repeat and you constantly try to improve. That's what it is. So just embrace that process and you'll do fine. Let's see here. So, and also one more thing as well, that I do want to mention as part of this is a lot of people, when they're first getting started, they get caught in the weeds on YouTube. And what I mean by that, and, it's great to ask questions and it's great to want to know the details. But at the end of the day, if you want your channel to perform, you have to learn how to come up with good titles, make good thumbnails and titles, or come up with good topics, make good thumbnails and titles that people will click on. And of course, make good content that keeps people engaged. But at the end of the day, if you are willing to learn how to do that, you'll do fine. But if you're like, oh, I'm just going to kind of do whatever I want and hope it works out, that can work out, but in most cases it doesn't. So because of that, just try to be intentional about what it is that you're doing and make sure that you're just always looking at yourself. It's like, hey, if my channel's not doing great right now, then what's going on? And it'll always come back to you as the content creator. So I need to step away here really quick. So I'm going to play this quick music video with Brian G. Johnson and myself, and I'll be back here in about 30 seconds.
Check, 1, 2. I'm B to the G, it's easy to see what you need, it's attention from me, I'll give you the shout, get back on the grind and you'll be down for the count, trying to breathe, your favorite is me, now you hate with the diss, all of that hair hanging there like a chick, man give me a break, you're standing too close to the camera like Nick, where is the claim that you say, Filmora is hate, call me a thief for the titles you hate, I taught you the rank, you seem to forget it, I hit it and quit it, and you try to walk in my wake, I'm tossing you weight, giving you shine, giving you clout by doing this with my time, and what I'm about, why I'm your guy, you come to my console but now you're denied, you You wanna throw shade. It's too late, I already got it made. You wanna bring hate. Hit the road, hater, cause I'm not phased.
If you're messing with G, you're messing with me. The name is Nimmin, I'll bend in a knee. Disturbing the peace, I'll come back into battle and murder a beat. I heard you eat worms like a bird, like a tree. Just like these words of defeat, I think Beanie should draw you and make you a T. They're waiting on me, who's waiting on you? If it wasn't for Johnson, you wouldn't have views or a clue. You wouldn't know what to do. The only extremes I see is your food. This is just weak, yes, I mean to be rude. Change of your scene, technique, everything about you and the future you seek. It's bleak, I don't mean to allude to the fact that you racked up a debt with the best in this feud. You just got wrecked by the crew.
You wanna throw
All right. So I'm back. So let's see here. So the next question that we have here on our list, this one's going to come from the form here. So the next question here, and really quick, I just want to make sure that I got everybody taken care of over here, and I did. Tysa Crypto, thank you for the super sticker there. I appreciate it. So let's see here. So next up on our list here, hopping back into the form for this one. And the this is from Hot Breath Comedy Network. Love the channel name, Hot Breath Comedy Network. Says they do a comedy podcast. Oh wait, we did this one already. Okay, yep. Okay, so we got that one covered already. That's a great channel name. So I am Suhani says that they do comedy shorts. So today's a comedy day. So they do comedy shorts. Let's see here. Let me just double check this. Doug, thanks for the heads up, man. I will check here in my mission control while I'm restarting the page here. Okay, Supercharge, just started Super Chat. You pulled up, it didn't answer. Do you think the amount of subscribers too small? We got that one covered. And we did that one. We did that one. Oh, okay, I see him now. Starting the personal development channel. Okay, here we go. Dev Kumar Meena says, how to protect from hackers because my friend channel got hacked and deleted. He was full-time on YouTube. How to protect from face-sponsored Gamil. I'm not sure what the Gamil is, but in terms of hackers, the best that you can do, I mean, hackers hack. That's what they do. They penetrate all the different things that we can come up with to fix it or to try to avoid it. But the thing that you want to do is just give yourself the best shot. So you want to make sure by default, you're going to have it anyway, but you got to make sure that you have the two-factor authentication set up on your YouTube channel. Also, make sure that your YouTube channel email address is not the address that you have listed on your About Me page. Make sure you put a different address there. And the reason for that is because that gives hackers a starting point, right? So for all of you, if you have your main YouTube channel email address as your contact on your business or on your About Me page, when somebody clicks on that business inquiry button, change that like right now. And the reason that you want to do that, you can set up another Gmail account that would be your public facing email account for your viewers and for brands that try to get in touch with you and all that. Set up that email account and then remove your channel email from that particular box. And the reason for that is because you don't want to give them that starting point. So just as little information as they have, the more safe that you are. So just make sure that you are protecting yourself in that way. Tybee Brown TV says, I'm at 3.1 thousand subs and make nice thumbnails, but views went down. Any advice? So in terms of making nice thumbnails, the thing that you want to make sure that you're thinking about when your views go down is, one, how consistent are you being? Two, making nice thumbnails per personal taste isn't as important as making nice thumbnails that other people respond to. So make sure, if you're not doing this already, that you go into your, and I actually have a short that I'm going to be publishing on my channel about this, but make sure that you are going into your analytics, and instead of looking at the upside down triangle that YouTube shows you there, your performance information, make sure that you're actually clicking into your traffic sources and you're going into advanced mode in analytics and you're looking at your click-through rate there for each different surface, because that helps you get some insights on where people are responding. So you can look at your click-through rate there, look at your average view duration, and one thing that you're going to find out, especially if you had views go down, One thing you're going to find out is that, in some places people click on your content more than others, and you just want to make sure they're clicking on it in recommendations as much as possible, unless you're targeting YouTube search. So within that, you can also go in to your analytics. You can stretch it out over a time range, and you can see what happens. So like, let's say, for example, if you're like, hey, my views went down, what happened? Then what you can do is you can go in, you can actually go for like the last 365 days, or if this all happened within the last 90 days, then you can go in and you can actually just go into your traffic sources again. And if you you can hit all if you want, or you can just hit the main ones. And then when you click those, they'll be at the top. When you click those, then what you're going to see is you're going to see lines going across, that graph they show you at the top. And one of the things that you might see is like, hey, I was getting a lot of homepage traffic here, and then bam, that homepage traffic went down. Or I was getting suggested a lot, and then bam, I lost that suggested traffic. So that you can start to identify like what happened and why you're losing less views. Other things to consider is the seasonality of YouTube channels, in terms of sometimes, channels just perform better than they do at other times. That can be based on, the content decisions that you're making, to where, hey, these topics that I was doing for a while, people just aren't responding to them as much as they used to, because I've just flooded the, YouTube with that content. So because of that, I need to, come up with a new approach, or maybe start introducing some new ideas to what it is that I'm doing, those types of things. But, one of the things that you want to make sure that you're doing, though, is because you said you make nice thumbnails, and that's the thing that kind of got me, right? So one of the things that you want to do is you want to make sure that you are confirming your opinions in terms of what is nice with the data that YouTube gives you in terms of how people are responding to what it is that you're doing. So hopefully that helps. The next one that we have here is from the Ultimate Quiz channel. And the Ultimate Quiz channel says that they just started the Ultimate Quiz channel, huge learning curve. Do you have some book recommendations about YouTube or business strategy? As a matter of fact, I have 3 book recommendations about YouTube right here. One is YouTube Formula. This one is by Daryl Eves. It's the most recent one. The next one on the list here, let me turn this off, go back to here. The next one on this list is YouTube Secrets. This one's by Daryl Eves. YouTube Formula. This one here is called YouTube Secrets. This is by Sean Cannell and Benji Travis. This is about growing and monetizing your channel, and they have an audio version of this too. And then this one here is Tube Ritual Volume 1, where he helps you understand YouTube to where you can go from 0 to 5,000 subscribers on your YouTube channel and more, because of the stuff that you learn in here. It basically teaches you all the foundational things that you need to know. But Brian, he was in the chat earlier. I don't know if he still is. But this is from Brian G. Johnson, as you can see, right here on the cover. So all 3 of these are fantastic. In addition to that, I recommend, I think the book is called Story Brand. That's a really good one. I recommend Primal Branding as well. Pat Flynn, if you're familiar with him, he has one called Superfans. It's really similar in terms of, the information shared there, in terms of, primal branding, but he takes a totally different approach, and he shares like his experience as he's grown his influence online over a very long period of time. And his is like, hey, this is what I did in order to, make everything work out. Where the primal branding, when he's actually analyzing, corporations, and he breaks down like the things that, that create a cult-like following. But those are all good. In addition to that, I can't mention a book list without mentioning Search Inside Yourself, because, part of this whole YouTube thing is getting your mind right. So Search Inside Yourself, it's written by the ambassador to Google, or at least he still was. I'm not sure if he still is. But basically, he's the guy that if like a president or celebrity or somebody goes to Google, he gives them the tour and all that good stuff. But anyway, he introduced like a meditation practice into Google, and I think they still do it to this day. But he introduced that meditation practice into there, and that particular book can help you just understand meditation, and they really break it down and make it just super easy to understand and know exactly what it is that you have to do. They give case studies on how it helped, Google and him personally and all that good stuff. But I really recommend that you check that one out too. Let's see here. So we answered that one as well. So we are good there. Okay. So, Camel Tech Vlog says, hey, Nick, started following you when I had 30 subs and followed your advice. Now I'm at 600 subs. You rock. Thanks for the advice. We'll reach 1,000 soon. High five and fist bump to you. Nice work on climbing through the ranks there on your YouTube channel. Nice work. Congratulations. So next up on our list here, we've got new member, Terrestrial Vibes. What's up, my man? Hope you're doing great.
Welcome to the Nimminati.
So make sure when you get the chance that you go to nimminvip.com, fill out all the information on the way in, and I will add you as soon as the stream is complete, if you can do that before the stream is complete today. So let's see here. So as we keep on going, I'm going to hop back into the forum here for this next batch of questions. And by the way, just in case you haven't yet,
if you're enjoying the show, remember to give it a thumbs up and share it with a friend right now.
So the next question that we have is from Michael. Michael says that they do entertainment, comedy, and variety. The goal is to become famous. And the question is, any advice for increasing views on a comedy, entertainment, or variety channel? Is it because I'm not funny or entertaining? So a couple of guys walk into a bar, and the first guy says to the other guy, no, I'm just kidding. So I have a little thing with my back, so I have to stand up from time to time. But I just thought I would take that opportunity to do it because I'm like, hey, we got another comedy one in here, so let's pretend like we're gonna do some stand up. But the advice that I have for you is the same as I mentioned earlier for the other comedy channel, and that is where you can, where it fits into what it is that you're doing. I really recommend that you hop on trends. So if you go to trends.google.com, what you're going to see if you go to trends.google.com is you are going to see the things like right away that are just popular in the world, right now, or at least the area that you select. In addition to that, you have the option to where, and everybody should be using this, by the way, not just comedy channels, but the way that a comedy channel would use it is they would just go and see the things that are trending in the world or within a specific genre of comedy that they do. And then they would just do their comedy about that so that they can just tap into that wider audience that's proven already to be interested in that stuff by it being popular in the world right now, or at least that location. So that's one thing that you want to do. But for everybody else, another way that you can use Google Trends for your content is if you have a way that you're saying something in your title, or if you do anything with any type of products, making sure that when you are putting your titles together, that you are saying things in the way that people are typically, looking for them, or that people typically, I won't say responding to, but the way that people typically look for them. You want to make sure that you do that because inside of Google Trends, you can actually compare things. So for example, I make videos about Tubebuddy, and because of that, I can go into Google Trends and I can say, okay, do people look more for Tubebuddy as 2 words, or do people look more for Tubebuddy as 1 word? And then I can say, okay, well, since people look more for Tubebuddy as 1 word, then when I'm writing my titles, I want to make sure that I'm making my title in a way that people are thinking about it, so that when they see that title, it resonates with them and they'll click on mine compared to the other people that are separating it with 2 and making it 2 words. But you can use Google Trends in that way to where you can just start looking for that type of thing. Other things, let's say you're doing tech content. If you're doing tech content, let's say you're talking about phones, then in that case, you can go in and you can compare apps against each other. Like, let's say you're going to talk about some apps. You could do let's say like Video Leap as one thing that you would put into Google Trends, and then you could do KineMaster as another thing that you put into Trends, and then you can see like which one are people looking for more, and then that starts giving you some insights into the majority, right? And that kind of helps you make those decisions based on what you are taking a stab at that would have the chance of being the most popular. So definitely make sure that you're using Google Trends for that, or trends.google.com. But in addition to that, another thing to make sure that you do as well is you do have the option to sort by worldwide. But if you are targeting a specific place, like in my case, I'll typically do this for the US. So since I, do all my research and everything based on the US, then in that case, I'll make sure that I have the US selected from the dropdown. When it comes to the additional information, gamers. This one's really big for you guys. So how many gamers do we have in here? If you're a gamer, just say me, so that I can, if you're a gamer, just say me, because I've got some information for you when it comes to trends too. So the way that you guys want to use trends is, of course, if you are a variety gaming channel where you're making videos or live streams on a bunch of different types of games, then you can also go to Google Trends and you can use that, and of course sort by whatever date range you want. But you can use that to help you understand which games are the most popular right now, which games are on the rise versus which games are on the decline in terms of popularity. And another really awesome thing is, let's say that you are like, hey, I'm going to put in COD. And that's one of the, options that you put in. And just as a heads up, how I was talking about the comparisons before in terms of, making sure that you're, figuring out what to write in your title. That's also where you can put in like Call of Duty as one thing that you're going to check versus COD. And then you can see which one people are looking for most, right? And all the different versions of Call of Duty. You can put in like Warzone, for example, and see like, okay, are people looking more for that or for WW2, right? So you can really just get a really good understanding for, for the right games to make to give you the highest chance of getting the most traffic, the most views. But in addition to that, when you scroll down the page on Google Trends, another thing that happens is they show you a breakout section. And that breakout section, and this is the one where you want to make it a shorter date range. When you make it the shorter date range, when you go down to that breakout section, what you're going to see there is you're going to see the topics that are currently on the rise. Sometimes, it might be up by, 30%. Other times it might be up by 100%. Sometimes it's like 5,000% more interest in this over the last, over the last 7 days. So when you see that type of stuff, then it's like, oh, people are like, really hopping on this right now. This is super popular and it's on the rise right now. So because of that, I'm going to make sure that, that I put that on my list. If you can find stuff that's, more popular within the last 24 hours, of course, even better. But the idea is you want to just make sure that you are, just putting in that effort so that you can make sure that what you're making is, that you just have the highest chance to get in front of the most people with it. Because, one of the things about YouTube and how YouTube works is when people are interacting on the platform, they're watching content and they're having good experiences with content, and YouTube identifies like, hey, this person's watching a lot of COD stuff. And then you publish a COD video, YouTube might give you an impression there. They might show it to that person. So if you have one of your videos on something that's breaking out, and then you might be that first person to introduce that, that thing that's breaking out to that person, on their homepage or whatever, and that can just help you bring more people into your channel. So definitely make sure that you do that. So let's see here. So Joseph says, love the nasty ways to get the viewers video. Can you do a 5 tips for gaming channels? I actually do have a gaming video on the way. I'm not sure. Let's see here. Yeah, it probably won't be until the end of this month or early next month, but I do actually have a gaming video on the way. Let's see here. So Rodsters TV says, hey again, Nick. Tubebuddy says when you do a title A/B test that the video will get re-indexed. Can that help boost visibility for an old video? Technically, yes. But the thing is it still comes down to performance, right? So like, for example, if you find out that you change your title or your thumbnail, and it can go both ways, like it can help or hurt. So just keep that in mind as well. But when you update your title or your thumbnail, what can happen is that people start responding better to it, or they start responding worse to it. And then that will make it, perform better or worse. But in terms of them showing it to different people, the win there is that it just, like when you package it up from the outside, the expectation that you're creating when somebody sees that thumbnail and title is going to be different if you optimize it one way compared to optimizing it another way. So because of that, that's where it really helps you in terms of if you can take something that's not performing and then you can make that modification to it and people start responding to it better, then in that case, of course, then you can start getting more views there. But keep in mind, just the thumbnail and title itself, that can carry you a pretty far away. But at the end of the day, you also have to make sure that the content itself is what is good. So if you do find that your audience retention is relatively low in the start of your video, and you're thinking to yourself like, hey, my click-through rate, it's kind of messed up here, my retention is low in the start of my video, keep in mind that expectation. So it could be your packaging is actually hurting the performance of the actual video content because people are expecting one thing, they click on it, they get into your video, and you give them something else or it's just a little bit outside of what they were actually expecting. So that can actually negatively impact your retention. But if you do optimize things in a way that people respond to the thumbnail and title better, and then that helps adjust the expectation they have coming into the content, that can also help the video perform better overall as well. So let's see here. So as we keep on going through this list here, First Class Gamer says, I think the sound of my voice sucks.
Super chat.
I go ahead and just give you a standing ovation for the, he's like, what, sound of my voice sucks. Says, how do I overcome the fear of talking into a microphone, specifically for voiceover content? P.S. I have back problems too. sucks, man. It's a bulge disc for me, and it's like inflamed right now. It's been that way for the last like 2 weeks. So so I hope yours feels better soon as well. But in terms of the sound of your voice, so the first thing that, and I know it's easy for me to say this versus like internalizing it and being like, okay, that's the way. But when it comes to your voice, it's important to know for all of us, when you are talking and you're talking with your friend, if I were to call you right now, First Class Gamer, if I were to call you and be like, hey, what's up, First Class Gamer? What you doing, man? You'd be talking to me. And the way that you hear yourself on video is the same way that I would be hearing you talk to me. Right. So, of course, you might put, inflections in certain places when you're making the video content to make it a little bit more dynamic than if you were just having, a conversation with a buddy. But when it comes to, what your voice sounds like and being uncomfortable with your own voice, just know that that's how other people hear you. Now, there are things that you can do in terms of making your voice sound different or sound better or sound more full. And those things are, if you put but I'm not sure if you're using like Adobe Audition or TechSmith. They have one called Audiate that's also really easy to use. But basically, you can put your audio track into that, or you can just record directly into it. Either or. But basically, you can normalize it, which basically makes the audio, it brings the signal up and makes it more consistent, all the way across the board instead of having tons of ups and downs. But you normalize it so it does that, and you can add dynamics to it, which kind of fills the whole thing out and just kind of boosts the signal a bit. I normalize it again after that, and then I add EQ to it, so that I add just a tiny little boost on the low end. I add a little bit of a boost on the high end and just a little tiny nudge in the mid-range as well. And then I add another EQ to it. The first one's a parametric EQ, I think it's parametric is the name of it. And then the second one is just a regular EQ. It's a 30 band. And on that one, I just do a slight high boost on there, and then I add a de-esser to it if I happen to be close enough to the microphone. If it's a voiceover or something, I'll definitely add a de-esser. And all of those things take the voice from sounding like hey, this is okay, to sounding just like really full and rich and all of that. So I recommend that you do look into processing your voice. So I'm not sure if you're familiar with the YouTube channel Mike Russell, but go check out his channel. He, if you look for like Mike Russell, make your voice sound better, you'll find all kinds of content from him on how to do that. But he has some really good videos about it. And Curtis Judd also has some good videos about it. But when it comes to, getting over that, fear of talking into the microphone, the thing that I recommend that you do is that you just look at it from the perspective of like, hey, I'm just communicating as I communicate here. And this is already how other people hear me. Now I can of course put some polish on it by doing the processing that I was talking about. I can of course put some polish on it, but at the end of the day, like, this is how everybody already hears me. And the reason it sounds weird to me is because normally I hear it through my skull, through, coming from the inside out instead of just hearing my voice normally. So because of that, that's why it sounds weird. But in terms of, talking into your microphone and overcoming that fear, best thing you can do is just practice and just start doing it. And then of course, learning how to process the audio will make a huge difference. I know for me, like when I edit my own videos, I've made tons and tons and tons of videos, like public on my channel right now. I've got like 500 and something videos. In addition to that, I've made videos for like Empire Flippers. I made videos for Uscreen. I've done tons of collaboration videos, things like that. And within all of that, with any video that I ever edit, as I'm first going, and this is like a little, personal thing here, but as I'm going through like the first pass, right? I'm going through and I'm tightening everything up and all that. The whole time I'm thinking to myself like, oh my gosh, my voice just sounds horrible. My voice just sounds horrible here. But then, when I do run it through that processing, then, by the time that processing is finished, I bring it back in. As soon as I drop that new audio track in there, I'm like, okay, there we go. That's better. So I really recommend that you give that a shot just so you can see if that makes can make a difference for you. Hey, thanks for the heads up. I'll be tastic. I'm turning it down right now. Yeah, so I took it down to 0 when I was doing the walk around, and I just boosted it up like way too much. So thanks for the heads up on that. So let's see here. So as we keep on going through the list here, I'm just going to scroll down here really quick. David Matney, thanks for the super chat, man. I appreciate it.
Super chat.
Hey, Nick, thanks for the channel review. Great information. Really appreciate it. My pleasure. My pleasure. And of course, because you're a member. So like if you have any questions, about the information that I shared during that stream, definitely, just tag me when you, for any questions that you have about any of the stuff that I mentioned there. Let's see here. So as we keep on trucking here, we got Roasters TV says,
Super chat.
I'm usually not satisfied without doing at least the same amount of views or viewers in views within 48 hours of publication, 2,000 views for 2,000 viewers. Is there a rule of thumb for that ratio? No. And the reason there's not a rule of thumb for that ratio is because if you have a piece of high performing content, like as you're getting started, if you have, like, let's say you have, as long as I'm understanding your question correctly, if you have like 2,000 subscribers, you're trying to get that 2,000 views, then in that case, it's important to know that, you know, YouTube isn't showing your content just to the 2,000 people that are subscribing to your YouTube channel. It's only a percentage of those people. In some cases, it can be really low. The percentage of people that, that are subscribed to your channel, even if they have the notifications turned on, that will actually see your content. So in a lot of cases, if you look in your stats, you can actually see the amount of people that are not subscribed versus the people that are. And you'll see that you'll have, you know, most likely you'll end up having, you know, a large amount of people that are not subscribed to the channel that are taking up, you know, a nice amount of that 2,000 views that you were trying to hit against the 2,000 subscribers. So, so just because you have that 2,000 subscribers doesn't mean that YouTube is going to show your content to all 2,000 of those people, unfortunately, because like in my case, right? Like that would be awesome. You know, if YouTube would just show it to, you know, all 800 and something thousand people, then my videos would just, you know, blow up with everything I publish. That'd be great. But unfortunately it doesn't work that way. So how it actually works is if people have interacted in your channel, you know, around particular topics, then it'll show it to them, you know, based on that. If the system's detecting that they're still interested in those topics, it also shows it to people based on other content they're watching on YouTube and how they're responding to that other content. And they're basically just predicting with your content based on this topic at this moment in time, who on the platform right now would be a good fit for this particular piece of content. And that's how it's getting shown. And some of those people in that list of those people that are the most likely to enjoy it, some of those people, you know, within that 48-hour period, those are the people that are, you know, the most likely to enjoy your content. So out of, you know, out of that first, you know, 2,000 views that you get, you know, not all of them are going to be your subscribers. Again, super unfortunate. Like I really wish, that they would. And they'll send out notifications, but then the problem with notifications is that, you know, not everybody has the ability to receive notifications because, you know, people like me, like I turn off my notifications on my YouTube app on my phone. I turn off YouTube notifications on my desktop because I, you know, I just don't want them on because I just don't want, you know, notifications coming in, you know, from anything really. I turn off notifications on almost everything because it's too distracting. I don't want my phone kind of owning me, so to speak. A little side rant there. I apologize. Okay. So next up on our list, we took care of Michael there. So next up, we've got Wake Up and Craft. Wake Up and Craft says that they have a crafting channel. The goal of the channel says, I want to show people how easy it is to make something from nothing. I like to use recycled materials and create beautiful things. That's awesome. That's super cool. So it's kind of like, you know, taking things that are, you know, kind of like thrown away, right? And turn it into something beautiful. That's really cool. But the question is, do you believe in quality of videos or quantity of videos for new YouTubers? So I wish that I could tell you like, hey, just do this in terms of quality versus quantity, but it's actually like a balance that you have to do. And the reason for that is because you need to learn how to get your content to a competitive level for the platform. And in some cases, it's going to take a while to you know, put those videos together. And if it takes a while to put those videos together, then that's going to impact the amount of videos that you can upload within a certain period of time. So because of that, you know, one of the things that that is really important to think about is when you're publishing more, it's giving you more experience in terms of putting the content together, editing the content, your workflow in general, how you organize your content. If you're presenting in your content or doing voiceovers or anything, it kind of helps you learn how to do all of that better, faster, which is a huge win. But pumping out content for the sake of pumping out content these days is not effective. What is effective is once you do get things to that point to where people do respond at a high rate to your content, then at that point in time, that's where you want to think like, okay, if I were to double my upload schedule, my upload cadence, then at that point in time, because now I know how to make effective content. I'm not just throwing a bunch of content on here. I'm making effective content that people are responding to in a positive way. So now I'm going to increase my upload schedule. And as part of that as well, when you are making those initial, you know, lots of videos, the idea there is you're also learning how to do everything faster and more efficient. So by the time you get to that point where it's like, yeah, everything I'm making, it's getting good response. People are loving this stuff. By the time you get to that point, then your workflow is going to be pretty solid, and you're going to be able to, start, ramping up your upload schedule if you choose to. Of course, content dependent, because like if you're out, doing like massive documentaries and stuff like that, of course, that's not going to apply. But for, most types of content, it does. Great question though, in terms of quality versus, quantity, because, it needs to be quality, but the quantity helps you do things faster, and helps you develop your skills faster. And it just gives you more hooks in the pond, so to speak, that you're trying to pull people in from. The Coach Plays is our next question here. They've been on YouTube for a year or more. It's a sports channel. The goal is to get 100,000 subscribers and have fun doing it. That's what I'm talking about. And the question is, Nick, do you still believe in shorts? I've been trying to make short content because I hear it's a great avenue to get noticed and more subs, but I can't seem to get traction or views. So I was wondering if you believe shorts are going away. Thank you for all you do. Shorts are not going anywhere. Shorts are going to be here for a long time to come. Vertical content in general is going to be here for a long time to come. So I would just work on the craft, right? So when it comes to shorts, I'm actually, so I've done a lot of experimentation, like on just like test channels and stuff with shorts. But now I'm actually going to start publishing some shorts on my channel from time to time as well. I've actually got one coming up either tomorrow or Wednesday. I'm going to publish it on my channel. Just can't remember off the top of my head, but yeah, so like I'm going to start doing shorts on my channel too. So shorts are a great way to tap into like a whole other audience of people on YouTube, because there's going to be people that are, hey, Roberto Blake in the house. What's up, my man? Hope you're doing awesome. Roberto says, make 100 crappy videos with the goal of getting better. Quality over quantity is for filmmakers. Everyone else learns in public, and the biggest YouTubers all made crappy content to learn the ropes. Absolutely. So, what was I saying there? Oh yeah, when it comes to shorts. So what you want to do is you want to, of course, just learn the art of just making that short form content, because at the end of the day, short form is not long form. Short form is not just repurposed long form. You can repurpose long form content into short form content, but there's an art to getting people to watch that, just like there is with long form content. So you just have to keep working on that. So for example, if you typically start your short in one way and you're just not getting any traction at all, then start, doing your shorts in a different way. Start doing a different type of short and see if you can get a better response there. But another thing, if you're already making the content, another thing to make sure that you think about is, when you start publishing videos to YouTube, especially as a new content creator, a lot of people don't really think about this, but when you start publishing videos to YouTube, you're on that starting part of building an internet brand. So that internet brand can be just YouTube if you choose it to be, but you can also use this short form content that you're making for YouTube. You can throw it up on TikTok, throw it up on Reels, and you might end up having, more success on TikTok than YouTube, or more success on Reels than YouTube as well. So because of that, you want to make sure that if you are making shorts, that you are kind of tossing those on some of those other platforms, if you're not using them for other things already, so that you can make sure that you're, that you're leveraging everything that you can, if that's something that you are interested in doing. Hannity Bailey says, Roberto, how are you? Hope all is well. The Ultimate Quiz Channel.
Welcome to the Nimminati.
Welcome to the Nimminati. Make sure next time you get the chance, you go to nimminvip.com. That is our members only Facebook group. Fill out all the information on the way in, because that's how I verify that you are a member after the stream. Okay, let's see the mod chat over here. Previous question was about CTR, not CPM. Oh, okay. CTR was going down. Just started super chat. Question you answered, CPM versus CTR. Okay, so I made a mistake on one of the other questions I asked. I was talking about CPM, but it was actually CTR. So the question, and this was from Random Lifestyle Vlog, the question was actually, after a really business Christmas period, we faced a massive drop in January in our CTR, click-through rate. How can you come back after your peak period? So one thing to keep in mind when it comes to your click-through rate, if you notice a decrease in your click-through rate, typically when you get more impressions on a video, your click-through rate will start decreasing. Unless YouTube nails the audience, then it can go up, but then it'll start decreasing again after that. So just keep in mind that if you're getting more impressions on your video, it's normal for your click-through rate to go down. And the reason for that is because when you first publish your video, the initial group of people that YouTube is showing your content to, or the people that the system is predicting are the most likely to enjoy that content at that moment in time. And then as it keeps going, it starts, the people start getting less and less qualified to be the ideal viewer. And those are the types of things that end up driving down your click-through rate. So just keep that in mind. And in terms of, before, like it was doing better before January, and then now, it's not doing that great. It could just be, the timing in terms of what the video is actually about, those types of things. Like there's a lot of factors that come into it, but if everything else is the same, but your click-through rate is going down, look at the amount of impressions that you're getting. And there's a really good chance that the impressions that you're getting are climbing, and that's what's pushing the click-through rate down. Let's see here. So as we keep on going down through this list here, like and share this stream on the community center on YouTube. That would be fantastic. Absolutely. Thank you for that. So let's see here. So as we keep on going through the list here, I'm hopping back into the form for this one. And this one's from, okay, we took care of the coach plays. Nabu UG256 says they do technology and computer content. The goal of the channel is monetization as of now. And the question is, how can I grow my channel as a beginner up to monetization? So I touched a little bit about this earlier in terms of just things to keep in mind. But what you want to do is you want to start working on just making videos that people respond to in a great way, because that's going to move the needle more than anything. You want to make sure that you are learning how to make thumbnails that people respond to, because that's also going to move the needle in a serious way, because if people aren't clicking on your, thumbnails and titles, then they're never going to see that awesome video that you made. So because of that, you also want to make sure that you're working, strongly on learning, not just looking at it and thinking to yourself, hey, this is a good thumbnail. Like that's the starting point to commit to actually, publishing that thumbnail. But you actually want to think of, I'm using this thumbnail, I'm using this title, and then after I publish my video, I'm going to go look at my click-through rate compared to the amount of impressions that I'm getting, and I'm going to start removing from my brain, like, hey, I'm just making everything based on what I like, and start moving that, the lens that you're seeing your channel through, start moving that into, I'm doing the thing that I like, but I'm optimizing for what other people like. And if you take that approach, then you'll start growing your channel, people start responding to what you're doing, and you'll hit monetization. But at the end of the day, make sure that you are, like, if you're learning how to make videos and people aren't responding to long videos yet, let's say you're making 10-minute videos and people aren't responding yet, start making videos that are 5 minutes. And when you start making those videos that are 5 minutes, then the goal is to get people as far in that 5-minute video as you possibly can, recommend other videos so that they can, click on those other videos, watch those. Make sure you're using your pinned comments. Make sure that you're putting links down in your description so people can click on those and go see, more of your content as well. Make sure that you're setting up your channel page and you're being very intentional about, all of the, specific playlists that you're putting on your channel page based on the different things people will be coming to your channel for. So just make sure that you're doing all of those things. And most importantly, as you're getting started, and this one's for everybody, as you're getting started on YouTube, it's really important also, because I mentioned earlier about how YouTube is a marathon, right? It's not a sprint. So because of that, the idea is that you're going to be doing this for, for at least some time into the future. So since you're going to be doing this at least for some time into the future, it's important also to make sure that that you are one, doing something that you enjoy, but two, that you're also just paying attention to everything it is that you're doing as you're putting it out. And you're also just being very intentional about, your thumbnails and your titles, and that you're always thinking about the viewer, right? Like with the viewer, how's the viewer going to, respond to this? But more importantly, the idea is that you are, and this is the more important part, is that you are going through the process. And this is also, supportive of Roberto's recommendation of making 100 videos. But you want to make sure that you're going through the process of, over time, working the process of creating content and publishing content into your lifestyle. Because if you don't do that, everything else in the world is going to come up that's going to be more important than you publishing videos to your YouTube channel. So because of that, you want to make sure that you are, figuring out, okay, when is it that I'm going to sit down and come up with video ideas? When is it that I'm going to edit my videos? When is it I'm going to record my videos? And you start putting a schedule together of sorts to where you can start, creating a tempo so you can make sure that you get content out consistently. Because when you're getting started, always consistency is important, but when you're getting started, making sure that you're just being as consistent as you possibly can as you're publishing, so that you can make sure that you're learning on a regular basis and that you're just doing the thing, is super important. So make sure that you're doing that. It's so different creating versus consuming content. Oh man, is it ever? Yeah. So like when you, the funny thing is, like when it comes to this, is like when you're consuming content, you're seeing the content that is like the best stuff, because, you know, YouTube is showing, you know, all of these things on your home pages and all of that. And some people are, you know, good right when they start YouTube, they're good at getting people to click. So, you know, you'll see some new channels as well. But, you know, a lot of people, when they're watching content, YouTube is just showing people like, hey, these are videos that are proven to perform on the platform that we think you're going to like. And, you know, that's the stuff that you get shown. So when you start making content, you start thinking like, man, like, you know, like how do they even put these videos together? You know, like it looks easy, you know, like when you watch somebody else's YouTube video, just because you don't know all the stuff that goes on in the back end. So it looks easy. But then when you actually go into the creator side of things and you're like, okay, man, I can't even get my lights to look right, right? I can't get my lights to look right. I can't get my audio to sound good. My framing is off. Like I'm like way over here, you know, when I should be like in the middle or something. And it, you know, like, you know, all of those things are things that you have to learn in order to you know, be able to compete. So, but yeah, it's a totally different game though. So next up on our list here, this one's also coming from the forum. This is Lightning Striker. Lightning Striker says that they do a mapping channel. The goal is to build a fan base and make friends. And the question is, how do I get more views? So in terms of mapping, I'm not sure if you're doing like game maps or if you're doing like mapping, like showing people like how to make maps. I'm not sure specifically. But basically what you want to do in your case is tons of research into like whichever version of that it is that you're working on. Look at other channels that are making that type of content. Look at how they're, the specific topics they're choosing to make videos about. Look at how they're doing their thumbnails, how they're writing their titles, how they're structuring their videos. Anybody that's having any type of success in that space, you want to see like what it is that they're doing and study those channels so that you can kind of pick up tidbits on why it is that their channels are performing well, so you can implement some of that into what it is that you're doing. But in terms of getting more views, it all comes down to performance. So so on YouTube, just a heads up, you know, for everybody, there's little tricks that you can do in terms of, you know, like, you know, I shared a tweet out the other day. Make sure, by the way, if you're not, make sure you're following me on Twitter. But I shared a tweet the other day that was basically showing like the importance of pinning like a video in your live streams. We know if you schedule your live stream and then of course, you know, while you're live, because, you know, people will go over there and they will watch those videos. Some of you might have watched that video at the top of the screen right now. If not, you should, because it's an awesome video. It'll help you out. But you know, by pinning that, you know, it's just one way that, you know, people will be able to go and see that content that might not have seen that content before, so they can still get that value. But there's all these little things that you can do, adding, you know, pinned comments, adding description links, adding your end screens and cards, and setting up your channel page properly. And then there's passive versus active approaches to doing that. So for example, you know, a passive approach is to where you just put those links in your description, you let them go. And then the more active approach is to where you let people, like you mention a particular video somewhere in your video, like a video that you've already made, you mention that in the video that you're currently making, and you simply let people know, hey, I've got a link down in the description to that video, so you can check it out, you know, when this video is done or whatever. So, you know, that's the more active way to do it, where you're telling people to go down there and watch videos. But there's all these different things that you can do to get more views. But at the end of the day, you can't shortcut performance, because, you know, performance in terms of, if we just break everything down into basics, is this content competitive for the platform in terms of YouTube has all of the different content on the platform, right? I think it's something crazy, like how many, yeah, I can't think off the top of my head, but anyway, like in terms of the you know, platform, there's tons of content, you know, being uploaded. And the option that YouTube has, if you just break everything down, you know, simply, the option that YouTube has is show people the content that's proven to perform and keep people on YouTube and give them a great experience, or show them this content that people are going to click off of, and people aren't even going to click on the thumbnails. And once they click on that video, they're not going to be on it long, and they're going to leave YouTube, or they're going to, you know, do something else, or they're just going to respond negatively, right? So it has that option. So when you're publishing content that's on this side where people are responding to it better, YouTube's going to show it to more people. Like if we take everything and we just break it down to basics, they're going to show it to more people. Whereas if you're on this side and you're like just not putting out good stuff, you're not being intentional about your thumbnails, you're not coming up with good topics, all that, then you're going to have a hard time, because your content, you know, it's going to be deprioritized in place of, like, there's going to be content that's proven to perform, it's going to be put in its place, and the impressions that you're going to get are going to be lower because of that. So so you know, you have to make sure that you're coming to play, so to speak. Ed Go Places says, thanks, Nick, for sharing the gold
Super
nugget
chat.
tips all the time. Could you suggest the kind of audience I should target for my walking tour videos? Currently, I do virtual tours of New York City. So I'd be trying to tap into New Yorkers, of course, anybody that's into like walk and talk videos. So I would definitely make some content that is very specific, you know, walk and talk if you're not doing that already. But basically, you're looking for like window shopper people that are, you know, into experiences more than just sitting there and watching, you know, somebody sit there and talk like I am right now, right? Like you want people, or you're reaching people that are out there and looking for experiences. So because of that, you want to make sure that when you're putting your thumbnails together, that you're showing something cool that you know, happen to see on your walk or something like that, that might be of interest to people that are wanting to see something cool because they're into, you know, seeing the world and all that. So, you know, you just want to think of it from that perspective in terms of, you know, I'm trying to reach people that are interested in, you know, just kind of seeing stuff happen, seeing, you know, life, you know, do its thing, or seeing people do their thing. And they're also, you know, wanting to, you know, get insights into the area and all that. I would definitely just kind of lean into that and make sure that when you are putting your thumbnails together, your titles, that you're not just doing like walk and talk or, you know, something like that. That can be effective because people are into that too, but that you're, you know, being very specific about the locations that you're going to and stuff like that. And that you're, you know, being very intentional with your thumbnails, showing people a very specific thing that you happen to go on your walk that might be of interest to people that are curious about New York or curious about a particular area of New York and so on. Let's see here as we keep on going down the list. Oh, and one more tip for you also is I'm sure there's a lot of these because I know like I live in Thailand and there's a lot of these types of channels here. And some of them do okay. Some of them do, you know, most of them don't, but some of them do well. It's just because of the touristy nature of, you know, where I live, and New York has that too. So one thing that I would do is I would go look for all of the other types of channels that, you know, make that type of content, you know, for New York specifically, and just go to their videos page and sort by most popular and just look at that and just kind of use that as food for thought. It doesn't mean you have to make those same videos, but just use that information as food for thought of like people really enjoyed this particular tour. They enjoyed this tour. They enjoyed this tour. So you can kind of use that. Like, hey, if I happen to be in this area, I'm going to do a tour on this because all of the other walking channels in New York have a video in this area and it's done well. So because of that, I'm going to try to tap into that to kind of get this whole thing moving. So I would definitely make sure that you're, you know, considering those types of things too. Let's see here. So as we keep on going through the list here, okay, so scroll down there. We are all good there. Nothing going on in mission control. Solid there. So the channel name on this one is Shaka. And they upload every other day. It's a gaming channel. The goal of the channel is to pursue my goal of being a successful content creator or filmmaker. And the question, I live in a small island, Trinidad and Tobago. Will that have an impact on my channel views and impressions? No. Basically, what you have to think about is I'm not sure what language you speak natively. If you natively speak English, then you're open up to everybody that speaks English. If you have a specific language for where you are, then in that case, you know, that population, if you make videos in that language, that population is going to be kind of your market cap, and it's going to be smaller than that because, of course, out of that population that speaks that language, only a percentage of them is going to be interested in the specific, you know, games you play and things like that. So you just want to make sure that you're considering those types of things, but that's the only way that it'll have an impact. Because when you are like when you're publishing from another country, for example, like me, I upload videos, you know, from Asia. And since I'm uploading videos for here, like people in the US are still seeing them, people in the Philippines, which is part of Asia, seeing them, people in Thailand are seeing them, people in the UK are seeing them, people in Australia are seeing them because I'm speaking English. So because of that, you know, anybody that speaks English in any of those countries, if they're visiting, if they're there as an expat, or if they live there, if they speak English, then they're, you know, they qualify to view my content. So I would just think of it more from the language side than I would the, you know, where I am at and uploading from in the world side. So next up on the list here, we've got, let's see here. So let's go to, we're 16 in right now. So we're cruising through these. So 16 here so far, plus the super chats too. So we're doing all right. So the channel name is Home Workout. They do daily content. They do it on a phone. It's a workout channel. The goal of the channel is to get their first 100 subscribers. And the question is, should I upload shorts and long videos or just stick to long videos? This comes down to what you're trying to accomplish on your channel. So here's the thing with YouTube Shorts is it does give you the option, the opportunity to get in front of the people that are in the short shelf and then introduce them to what it is that you're doing. So because of that, you want to make sure that whatever shorts it is that you're putting out, that you do encourage people to subscribe, all that good stuff, so that they can possibly come over to your your long form channel and watch some of your long form content as well. But at the end of the day, even if they don't, you still have the opportunity to impact people in that shorts feed as well. So, so if you are, if shorts fit into what it is that you're trying to accomplish with the channel, long-term, not just the 100 subscriber thing, but like long-term goals, then in that case, then go ahead and make sure you use it. But if you're like, no, on my channel, I actually want to build a long-form channel and I don't want to do that short content, that's perfectly okay too. You don't have to use shorts. It's just another place on YouTube that you can reach people. Let's see here. So as we keep on going, Shaka, my pleasure. Let's see here. So Alpha Hog Gaming says they do gaming content. The goal of the channel says it's my hobby and it'd be great if I could do it full time in a certain time. So really quick, because we've had a couple of these come in on doing it full time. And I know I mentioned this earlier, but one thing that I do want to remind you is make sure, even if you're just getting started, that you're already looking into the different ways to monetize your channel. You're already looking into the different options you have. And the reason for that is because if you can start implementing at least some of these things now, then every video that you have in your YouTube channel has the opportunity to make some income for you even before you're in the partner program. So because of that, just make sure that you are implementing these things. Most importantly, if you're somebody that is wanting to go full time, if you're wanting to go full time, then really make sure that you're implementing some of the monetization ideas so that you can make sure that you are giving yourself so you're creating the environment to make it easy for you to monetize. Or to get side money or go full time or whatever. So next question that we have here on our list today is, and really quick.
If you're enjoying the show, remember to give it a thumbs up and share it with a friend right now.
So if you are just joining us, I do want to let you know that the questions that I'm answering are pulled from the submission form or from the form that's down in the description of this stream right now. So that's where these questions are being pulled from. I'm going to be going into the chat here and pulling some questions directly out of the chat here in about maybe 10 minutes or so. But as of right now, I'm focusing on this form so I can get through as many of those as I possibly can before we hop into the chat. And then from that moment, once I start hopping into the chat, then of course we're going to go back and forth. Because, for the people that are just joining that maybe didn't get a chance to get their questions in the forum, trying to just kind of keep it, kind of fair there. Let's see here. So as we keep on going down the list, Traveling Sam Books says that they do education, how to travel. Really quick, Peter on Poll says, hey Nick, good to see you again. How do I get a channel review? So on a channel review, I'm actually not offering that right now, but I know Daniel Batal, who hangs out in this chat quite a bit, he is offering that right now. If you go to danielbatal.com, then you'll find him. I think Roberto Blake also does channel reviews. He's in the chat right now. If you go to awesomecreatoracademy.com, then he will get you taken care of over there. So I would try out either one of those guys. I don't think Brian does reviews. I know he has his course and he does like full-blown consulting, but in terms of channel reviews, I don't think Brian does those at this moment in time. Will Star says, thanks for the review the other day. My pleasure. Oh, and really quick, because he's like, hey, thanks for the review the other day, right as I'm just telling you that I'm not doing reviews. So one thing that we do is that was kind of funny, actually. One thing that we do as part of our members live streams for the channel members that are in our Facebook group, we do actually look at channels over there. So basically there's a queue, and then once you go in over there as a member, then you add to the queue, and then as we get through them every week, then once yours comes up in the queue, then I do review them there. Let's see here. So as we keep on going through the list, sorry for the confusion there. So Traveling Sam Books, let's get back on that one really quick, says the goal of the channel is we help American families transition to full-time travel. I'm a single mom who travels the world with a toddler, educational, how-to travel channel. And let's see here. The question is, we're about 8 months and 80 videos, and we have one video from a few months ago growing on suggested and just starting to blow up on browse. I've got a couple others growing on suggested. What, if anything, should I do once the videos get picked up? Or is this a do not touch situation because I'll mess things up? Or should I start tweaking thumbnails for better CTR? I'm excited to have some real data finally, but I don't want to mess things up. Okay. So if you're starting to pick up momentum, which you are, if you're starting to pick up momentum, then what you want to do is you want to go through and you want to do some checks on your channel. And the first thing you want to do is make sure that in every single piece of content you publish, and I touched on this a minute ago, that you want to make sure that every single piece of content that you publish has links to relevant playlists. And by relevant, I mean if they're coming into one video on a specific topic, you want to make sure that the things you're linking to would be relevant to the person that's interested in that specific topic. So if you have one video on, if they're coming in on a video on, coffee makers, then in that case, the next video that, might want to come up might also want to have something to do with, other versions of coffee makers or, something else on your channel that would be important to people that are interested in coffee makers as an example. But anyway, so you want to make sure that you make it easy for people to find content because you're starting to get more views, starting to get more activity on the channel. So you want to compound that. And the way that you do that is by having the people that are already coming in and interacting with your channel watching more of your content. And the way that you do that is by making that additional content super easy for them to find based on the things that they care about. So that's where the relevance comes in terms of what you link to. So you want to make sure that you're using your pinned comment to recommend another video that person or a playlist that person would be interested in that's watching, that originating video. You want to make sure that you have links in your description leading to playlists of content that people would enjoy based on that originating video that they're watching. You want to make sure that you're using end screens. In your end screens, you want to make sure that you're linking to a video and or playlist. Again, you want to think of relevancy here. Somebody's coming in for this topic. What would be the next thing on my channel that would be the best possible fit for this particular viewer? And you want to make sure you're linking to that. You also want to make sure that you have a best for viewer option set up on your end screen as well, because that allows you to make the prediction and the handoff telling people like, hey, watch this next. That allows you to do that for the thing that you are putting there. But then for the best for viewer, that helps because YouTube knows what the viewers already watched and things like that. So for the people that have already watched that video that you're recommending or already been in that playlist that you're recommending, that best for viewer might catch them and pull them in to another video on your channel that YouTube is predicting that they might or that they're most likely to watch at that moment in time. So you want to make sure that you're using all those things plus your cards as well to just help people find more of your content. And when you do that, what you're going to do is you're going to take one view and you're going to start multiplying that, as people start clicking on some of those links to find more of your content. So you want to make sure every video is that way. You also want to make sure that you have your channel page set up properly in terms of make sure you have channel art that clearly expresses what it is that you offer on your YouTube channel. So that if somebody's watching a video that was published last year or, 3 months ago, when they look at your YouTube channel, if they click on your channel name, they land on your YouTube channel. So they have that instant clarity without having to even look at any additional content to figure out if you're still making, if you have other videos like the one they just watched, they have instant clarity. This is what this channel is offering so that if they enjoyed that video, if you're offering more like that, then they can see that clearly without having to put in any energy or effort into it. So they can make that choice and if they're going to subscribe to the channel or not right there. And then if they don't, then they can scroll down your channel page. And then there you should have your uploads playlist at the very top. And then from there, just start sectioning out your content based on, what people are, responding to on your YouTube channel. So if you have one video or a few videos taking off on a very specific, subject, then you want to make sure that you're focusing on, that particular type of content on your channel page as well, because some of those people are going to end up landing on your channel page. So you want to make that content super easy for them to find based on what's driving the channel right now. So just make sure that you're doing all of those things. Sugar Vision says, thanks for so much knowledge. My pleasure. I'm happy to share. Let's see here. So Adrianic Astronomy, thank you for the super sticker. I appreciate it there. So next up on our list here, we are going to pull this one again from the forum, and then we've got a few minutes left here, and then we're going to start pulling something from the chat as well, so hang tight for that. And here on the forum, we've got Hannaby Craft. Hannaby Craft says they upload one time per week or more. They do entertainment/education content. And the goal of the channel is first and foremost to create. I want to tell stories and share the lessons that I've learned to help others be better and be better at their hobbies. Question: how does one balance creating bulk content with a desire to not actually put their face on screen? Talking head seems to be the way to go to produce bulk content easily, but I have extreme issues looking at my own face during the editing. I cannot afford an outside editor, and I need to find another way to cope. My ASMR sewing videos take a long time to produce, and I cannot generate those fast enough for weekly content. So in that particular case, what you want to think about if you can't produce them fast enough for weekly content is you want to start thinking of, is there any shorter versions of these that I could do that would allow me to create it a little bit faster? Because if you're doing sewing content to where, let's say you have like an overhead camera, and that overhead camera, it's just you doing the thing, for the ASMR so they can hear all the thread, stuff going in there and all that. And that's what your content is. If that's what's going on, then, you can, if it takes you a while to make that, then it takes you a while to make that. And that's, you just have to accept that. And then you have to start thinking of yourself like, should I make these a little bit, shorter? Or is there a way that I can, make a supplemental piece of content while I'm putting this original piece of content together? So as an example, if you are, let's say you have like one camera, and this one of course is going to, cost money if you did do this route, but let's say you have one camera here and, super close up, on that, then in that case, you could, put something else, over on this side, or even a vertical one. So you could, tap into YouTube Shorts as an example. But, you would have another camera over here, just getting like another shot that you might be able to use for something else, later, to where maybe you could make a compilation of, like, hey, these are my long form sewing ASMR videos. And then I'm going to make compilations of, a handful of different, sewing ASMR videos. But when I do that compilation, I'm going to mix the, the overhead shot that I use plus that side shot that I use. But keep in mind, you don't have to use that side shot. You can still make compilations if you want to. But the idea is to just try to think with your content, is there like a shorter version of this that I could make? Is there like another version or variation of this that I could make? Or can I do compilations to kind of fill in the blanks, because that content's already made? I just have to slice it up and kind of repurpose that content into new content for the sake of getting additional videos out. But I also want to let you know, it's not a requirement to YouTube to upload one time per week. Some channels upload one time per month and they do awesome. Some channels upload, every other week and they do great. So, it's not a requirement to upload, every single week. It just helps you create more content and gives you more, hooks in the water, so to speak, for, videos to do well and bring people in. But you don't have to upload every single week. So if you're making good content and people are responding to it in a good way, just do what you can in terms of the cadence, and just make sure that, every video that you're publishing, that you're just making it as good as you can, for the sake of, if people are already responding well to them, for the sake of just making sure that you're giving everyone what it is that they are wanting from your channel. Let's see here. So as we keep on going, we've got Genealogy with Amy Johnson Crow. And they do educational content. The goal is to help people discover their family history. And the question is, do you know of any delay in tallying public watch hours? I know there's a delay a couple of days, but my total hasn't moved at all since Wednesday morning, despite having 800 hours on Wednesday and several hundred each on Thursday and yesterday. So getting close to monetizing. So when it comes to the data that you're seeing in YouTube, most of it is fully flushed out after 3 days. But every now and then they do have like little glitches here and there, to where like sub counts won't show up for a little bit. Monetization, will like some, days the monetization will be messed up. Watch time can get messed up and all that. So you might be caught up in something like that with your channel currently. But, typically within 3 days, you should have, everything it is that you need for a video. Journey with Pastor K. Thank you for the super chat. Says blessings to you, Nick, for the nuggets. You are amazing. Thank you. My pleasure. Glad that you are enjoying the content. Glad that you're hanging out in the stream here today. Let's see here. Okay, so another question that we had here is, thank you, you helped me already. And this is from Lily Lou. Says, thank you, you helped me already you helped me already a lot to start my channel growing. Had to make a longer break last year, but now I'm back and more motivated than ever. Awesome. So glad that you're back to making content, back into the creator world, and just try, because life can get in the way sometimes, just because there's stuff to do. So, because of that, just try to, if you can, just try to, work the process of making content into your lifestyle, and then that'll make, long-term sustainability a lot easier. It's hard though. It's definitely hard. So next question that we have here on our list, and I'm pulling this one from the forum as well here, is from Bees Fashion Journal. Bees Fashion Journal says that they do fashion and then some. Goal of the channel is to go full time, adding value while having fun to watch videos. And the question is, what percentage is a normal / good watch time? How important is it? It's critical. So of course, there's, if you get tons of views on a video, it can push down your watch time as well. However, you want to get as much watch time as you possibly can for each video that you publish, and you want to get as much watch time per impression for each video that you publish. So, so watch time is super important. So in terms of what percentage is normal and good, you want to get it as high as you possibly can. So YouTube, before they took down their Creator Academy, what they said in there is that you want to get as close to 100% as possible, because, how long somebody watches a video is a very strong signal in terms of their satisfaction with your content. And what YouTube is ultimately trying to do is keep people satisfied so that they'll keep coming back to YouTube, they'll stay on the platform, keep watching more videos and all of that. So because of that, your goal as a content creator is to get people to watch as long as you possibly can. So because of that, try for 50%. Right? Try to get there first. And then once you get to 50%, keep trying to push it as much as you possibly can. But if you're getting like, 25% of a 5-minute video, then you need to work on that. If you're getting 50% of a 10-minute video, then you're doing okay, but you can do better. So, definitely just keep trying to push it. If you're getting, 25% on a 20-minute video, then in that particular case, you might need to, kind of cut back on, you might not need to publish 20-minute videos because people, unless you're getting, a somewhat decent complete rate. If people aren't watching, 20 minutes of your content, then there's no real reason to put all of that work and effort into a 20-minute piece of content if people aren't watching it. So you want to make sure you're keeping those types of things in mind. Bebo, Magabo, thank you for the super chat there. I appreciate it. So next up, we've got... Let's see here. So really quick, what is a YouTube channel feature really? What is a YouTube channel feature really is, and if it's worth the time, try and grow one. I'm not sure what your question is there. What is a YouTube channel feature really? If it's worth time trying to grow one. Okay, so here's what I can tell you. So from everybody that I know that does YouTube like as their thing, like it's more than worth it. In terms of, the time that you put in and all that. Like if you can crack this nut, so to speak, like YouTube is awesome in terms of the lifestyle it provides, in terms of the doors that it opens, in terms of the opportunities that can come from it, in terms of the money that you can make with it, in terms of just the day-to-day experience you can have. Like if I was just uploading videos to my channel, and that was the only thing that I was doing, if I wasn't doing anything else, with all of this stuff, if the only thing that I was doing was uploading videos to my channel, I could realistically work like, let's see here. I could realistically work like 4 hours a week and be done. So like, like the lifestyle that it gives you is fantastic if you're just uploading videos. But if you start doing all the other stuff, then of course, it starts stacking on time and you end up, working a lot. But like if you're just uploading videos, and of course, my content's easier to make than an animation video, for example. But like when you are, when you are really leaning into YouTube as like your thing, like it can create just an awesome lifestyle and just the freedom in terms of, like I know a lot of people right now during what's going on in the world, they've figured out because they had to work from home. So they figured out like how awesome it is being able to, just work at home and just kind of work. You guys still had to show up, I guess for calls and things like that. But, mostly you're relatively, flexible in terms of, just making sure that you were at the meetings. But outside of that, you just had to get your work done and that was it. So like when you go in on YouTube and that becomes your thing, then, you get that every single day. So it's like, hey, I wake up and then I get to control my day. And then if I want to, kind of front load my week and get everything done there, then, that makes the rest of my week really flexible and really open. And I can do pretty much whatever it is that I want. So, it creates that freedom, as Brian D. Johnson says here, in terms of the lifestyle. So let's see here. So next up on our list, we've got Aeon of Horus. Says they do anime, manga discussion, specializing in one series. The goal of the channel, short term, is 10,000 subscribers. Long term is 100,000 subscribers. The question is, hey, Nick, I recently got, what's going on? Hope you're doing awesome. Says I recently got 5,000 subscribers after nearly 2 years. About 70% of the watch time I get is from viewers who haven't subscribed. Any advice for how to convert these viewers into subs? 1, give them awesome content that makes them want to subscribe. 2, ask them to subscribe. So one of the things that I've done on my channel is, for the sake of considering the viewer's time and respecting the viewer's time, is I completely cut out a call to action at the beginning of my videos. My subscriber growth in terms of my monthly subscriber count has absolutely tanked in comparison to when I was telling people at the beginning of every single video, if you want to learn how to grow your channel, make videos and all types of other YouTube related stuff, start now by subscribing and clicking the bell. When I took that out, over time, my subscriber count as those videos just kind of, started falling by the wayside, and YouTube prioritizes, my newer content. Like as that transition has taken place, my monthly subscriber count has just went like this. But, I'm more focused on, you coming in and enjoying the content, learning from it and getting the value than I am, just trying to get those subscribers. But I'll be honest with you, like with that drop though, I'm like, I'm trying to get 1 million subscribers here. Like maybe I need to introduce that so that, so I can, kind of ramp that thing back up. But anyway, to answer your question here, one, make sure that the content that you're making is as good as you can possibly make it in terms of the value that you're bringing to people. And in addition to that, also make sure that you ask people to subscribe. You can do it graphically by having, like little reminders pop up on your videos and things like that. But like a verbal call to action to subscribe and putting a reason in front of it is extremely effective. But you want to make sure, like if you're just getting started, like you don't want to really do that sort of thing right now if you're just getting started making content, because you want to learn how to get people watching for a longer period of time first before you consider doing that type of thing. Because those are just like little modifications that you can use to kind of optimize to, increase, the rate things are happening. But at the end of the day, the viewer experience is most important, because somebody doesn't even have to subscribe to your YouTube channel in order for YouTube to show them your content. They just have to come in, watch your video and have a good experience with it, engage with it essentially, and watch it, for an amount of time that YouTube deems it as a satisfactory experience. And then YouTube, will show them other content in your library, new videos you publish and things like that, as long as they keep responding to your content. So, so the subscriber side of things, we all want to, like I want 1 million subscribers on my channel, but at the end of the day, it's more important for me to get views, because if you watch my content and you enjoy my videos and then you click and you watch more of my videos and all that, then YouTube is going to continue showing my stuff on your homepage until you stop clicking on it. So Midnight Man, what's going on? Hope you're doing awesome. Says, keep grinding and learning, chat. Everything comes in time. Absolutely. Absolutely. So let's see here. So as we keep on going, we've got, and this is question number 23 here. And then after this one, we're going to hop into the chat for some questions. So one thing that I do want to let you know is before I say, like, drop your question, don't drop them before that. But basically, go ahead and get your question written out and put a Q in front of it. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell you to drop it. You're like, hey, ask your question now is what I'm going to say. And make sure you have either a Q in front of it or the word question, so I know it's for me and not a side conversation. And then I'm going to go through and I'm just going to start crushing through those and try to get through as many as I can. And then I'll jump back into the forum, of course, as well. So this next question here is from Mana Reeds. Mana Reeds says that they do booktube content. The goal is to help people relax. And the question is, how do I get from 38 subs to 100? Keep going. Keep going. Pay attention to what people are responding to, the books that you cover, the type of books that you cover. So for example, if you're doing, booktube and you are doing a video about like a self-help video, and that video does substantially better than the fiction videos that you're doing, then in that case, do another self-help one and see if people respond to that one positively, in a similar way. If they do, then do another self-help video, and then start, cover another self-help book, and just try to think from that perspective, like, hey, if people are really digging this, then I'm going to, keep giving them that. And the more you do that, the better off you're going to do in terms of, hurrying up to get that 100. So Peter on poll says, I will create Formula One, or I create Formula One content. Is it wise to do all things F1 for specific topics with F1? 2 years in, 430 subs. Thanks again. So make sure if you're doing Formula One racing, make sure every single one of your thumbnails has the imagery of Formula One racing in it. Cars, any logos, things like that, that would just help people that are interested in Formula One identify that that has something to do with Formula One. I would also mention that in the actual titles as well, just again, because this is all about helping viewers, the people that are interacting with the YouTube platform. It's about helping them identify that the content that you're making is something that they might be interested in at a glance, without them having to like analyze everything on the page, because people don't do that. Like you look and you're like, okay, what's all here? Oh, that looks interesting. Let me click on that, right? So so because of that, you have to make sure that it's just really easy for people to recognize that your content's something Formula One related. In addition to that, look at what it is that you're doing. You're going to see videos on your channel that have driven more subscribers than the others. Watch those videos. Try to think of like, why would people subscribe to this one more in terms of a conversion? Don't look at total subscribers. Look at the ones that are converting people at a higher rate, because, if you get more views on a video, in some cases, those videos will drive more subscribers. So you don't want to kind of be misled by that, by, hey, this video gave me 100 subscribers, but it's also got a lot more views than all the other videos on my channel, right? So you don't want to kind of do that. You want to look at the actual conversion as well, but you want to think about, okay, Like, why is it that I think people, subscribe to this video more than the other videos on my channel? What type of value do they think they got from this? And just kind of, try to replicate that value. Any theories that you come up with, just test them on additional content that you publish. So let's see here. So now is the time. I'm going to jump this all the way down to the bottom here. And then now is the time to go ahead and get your questions in there. So if you have a question, go ahead and put it into the chat right now. And I'm just going to start kind of rapid fire answering some of these questions here. Fit Dad Chris, member for 6 months, says, let's see here. Member here telling everyone to join the Nimminati. It's totally worth it. And don't forget to smash that like button. Thank you for the endorsement, my man. I appreciate it. Okay. So we had a lot of these come in and just kicked my screen down. So I'm just going to scroll up and start here. Okay, here we go. Blackout Barry says, majority of the content I make is music related. Any suggestions is what I can do so I can get more viewers? Absolutely. If you're doing music from the perspective of you're just uploading music as its own, then in that case, start making playlists of your music and other music that's like your music and all of that and add to them on a regular basis and make a bunch of different playlists on your channel so that, and you don't have to feature these on your homepage. They'll just be sitting on your playlist page, but just start doing some keyword research and looking for different ways that people are looking for music. Make your playlists, just make sure you're updating those playlists with your music and other music on the platform, but prioritize your music in that playlist. So make sure you're putting yours up towards the top. So as people are coming in, they're going to be hitting your videos first and enjoying your music as they go to other ones. And then of course, just kind of sprinkle your tracks throughout the different playlists that you create so that people are watching your videos or they're listening to your videos, listening to other people's videos and all that. If you're just doing raw music. Now, if you're a personality music channel in terms of like you're teaching people about music, you're bringing people into the, showing people, your process in terms of creating music and things like that, then in that case, make sure that you are just being, that you're just making some how-to content in terms of being, teaching people how to do things, because that stuff is just really easy to pull people into your channel so that they can, learn whatever it is that you are, whatever it is that you're showing them. Next, what is the best free editing app? So let's see here. So Video Leap is awesome. KineMaster is awesome. They both of them have paid packages as well, but they also have a free, free basic versions. With KineMaster, I think they still show a watermark though. So maybe you want to go with Video Leap. But the let's see here. There's also, I think, like Power Director, I think, is another free app. I'm a little bit out of the loop on the video editing apps. I'm going to make a video about that soon, I think. So I'll have to get back in the loop for that. But when it comes to the video editing apps, I think Power Director is another one. I would love some feedback actually in the chat on that one, because you guys might be able to help there. Just recommend some apps. So Silver Forever says, what big algorithm changes do you expect for 2022? My big algorithm changes that I expect for 2022 is that YouTube is just going to continue to prioritize the viewer experience. So when it comes to the algorithm changes on YouTube, here's how you always win. Always make sure that you're thinking about the viewer first. Make sure that you're always constantly paying attention to what's happening with each individual video that you upload so you can adjust accordingly. If you do that, and this goes for any platform on YouTube. Of course, there's all these little things you can do to kind of give yourself advantages. But in terms of the big picture, with all of the different platforms on YouTube, all the different social media platforms, as well as podcasts, even blogs, right? If you're writing articles, like everything comes down to the viewer experience or the listener experience or the reader experience. So if you want success in any online media, it doesn't matter what algorithms change, doesn't matter like what's going on there. If you focus on making sure that you're adding value to people and that you are creating a great experience for the people that are interacting with your content, whatever type of content it is that you're putting out, you will do well wherever it is that you're publishing content. It might take you some time to get going. There might be, platform specific things that you need to learn, that kind of stuff. But at the end of the day, if you focus on creating great content for a certain type of viewer, a certain type of audience, and you are constantly thinking of the viewer and their experience, doesn't matter what algorithms change. It doesn't matter, how all of that, ends up working out. You'll still be able to get traffic on YouTube or on TikTok or Instagram Reels or Facebook or, wherever it is. So that's my thoughts on that. Let's see here. One thing that's cool, you guys might have noticed, is they have updated channel pages. So if you look on a channel page from a computer, anybody that's uploading shorts to their channel, you'll see that they've actually kind of increased that section size. And then when you click on it, it actually goes to its own kind of like watch page and kind of dumps you into the shorts feed for that particular channel. But it's with that much larger thumbs, which is really cool. So it kind of creates its own experience on your channel, which is a really cool thing. So if you are uploading shorts, go look at your channel page and you'll see what I mean. So Kelly says that I'm pivoting to a new type of content on YouTube. Should I hide all my old content in order to maintain my watch all my old content in order to maintain my watch hours? So here's the thing. As soon as you unlist your content, then your public watch hours are going to go away. So if you unlist it, if you private it, it's going to go, you're going to lose that. So if you're trying to get into the partner program, leave it public for now, unless you're going in a completely unrelated direction. If you're going a completely unrelated direction and you already have a bunch of activity on your main channel, you might want to consider just starting a new channel. But if you don't want to do that, then in that case, I wouldn't just hide everything if you are trying to get in the partner program. But if you're already in the partner program and you know that you're going to hit the requirements to stay in the partner program, then in that case, that's where you might want to consider, taking away the content that isn't relevant to the viewers that you're trying to reach now. Mizbah Heck says, and I apologize if I said your name incorrectly, says, how long do you wait before changing the title or thumbnail? So basically what you want to do when it comes to that is you want to figure out rough baselines for your channel. And what I mean is you want to figure out when you publish a piece of content after, roughly how many impressions do you typically see, a certain click-through rate on your channel. And if you notice like, hey, this video just isn't, keeping up the pace with what I normally get, or it's not even close, then that's when you want to go in. If it's been an hour even, or 2 hours even, you can go in and you can update that thumbnail. But if you're like, hey, this is, it's pretty close to, to what I normally get with the amount of impressions that I'm getting. So then in that case, you can definitely let that ride, or you can always go in and just kind of experiment and see if you can do better. But the idea is to first understand what normal kind of looks like on your channel. And when you do that, that's going to help you make those decisions on when you need to update those things. And make sure also when you are looking at this, because you're going to see like you're in real time, you're going to see that really fast on YouTube. But in terms of like, the traffic sources and all that, you'll get that relatively quick too. But you want to go and you want to make that decision based on, where your traffic's coming from or where your views are coming from as well. So like, for example, you might find that your overall click-through rate might be seemingly low. But if you go and you look in your traffic sources, you might see that you're doing great in recommendation features, but like on your channel page, search, all that stuff, that you're not doing great. And that's kind of dragging that click-through rate down. So just make sure that you are, paying attention to where exactly the views are coming from and what your click-through rate is from each different traffic source. Question, shorts or long form videos? Totally your call. That comes down to the content that you want to make, what it is you want to accomplish for the channel. But here's some things that I just want you to think about in terms of, hey, James, hope you're doing awesome. But some things that I want you to think about when it comes to, making that choice on long form or short form. So a lot of people are going short form only right now because it's inspiring. And the reason that it's inspiring is because if you are in the shorts feed, you don't have to make any choices. The only choice you have to make when you're in the shorts feed is you just swipe up, right? So you swipe up and then they show you a new short. And as long as you watch that for a really short amount of time, then that's going to count as a view. So content creators are seeing that view and they're thinking like, hey, this shorts thing, super easy to get views. And it is. But the value of that view is less than a long form. I mean, it's not, because some of those people, might come and watch your long form content too. But in terms of, how easy it is to get a view there, the views that happen in shorts, unless somebody actually clicks into one of your shorts to get into the short shelf, the views that are coming from shorts are happening to people. So happening to the viewers. So they're just sitting there scrolling, yours pops up, somebody's watching that for a minute, they're talking to their friend, and then they look back at it, and that's been enough time for it to count as a view, and then they flip it and they move on, and you win because you just got that view, right? And then on the other side, when it comes to the long form content, the way that you get views on that is people have to make a choice to click on it, right? Hey, this is something that I'm interested in. This is something that, you know, that I want to check out. So because of that, it's a totally different game that you're playing on the short shelf compared to the long form content, because on the short shelf, your content happens to people. On the, you know, for the long form content, people have to make the choice in YouTube search to click on your video compared to the other videos that are in that list. When it comes to home pages, people have to make the choice to click on your video compared to all the other videos on that page that YouTube thinks that person's gonna, you know, is likely to watch at that moment in time. When somebody's watching another video and your video shows up, you know, in the suggested videos next to it, then, or under it, depending on, you know, what it is you're watching on, then, you know, the person has to make that choice to click on your video there. So it's harder to get people to click, but when they do click, they're clicking on it because they want to watch your content, versus YouTube showing them your video in the short shelf. They might not even be the right type of viewer that you're trying to reach, right? But YouTube is still showing it to them, and, you know, you'll still get some views there. So just make sure you're considering that when it comes to the shorts. Freaking awesome. I love how you put the name in there upside down. I would love to know how to do that. That's awesome. Says, good day, my friend. Positive prayers and peace for you. Same back to you as well. Freaking awesome. And I love how you put the upside down in there. I'd love to know how to do that. Okay, next. How long does it take for YouTube to push out my content? My videos have a high CTR, high retention, and high watch time. I also get most of my viewers watching another video using suggested and end screens. So if your videos are performing at that high at a rate, or at a rate that's competitive for YouTube, then YouTube will continue to show your content to people. If you are, like, some things to consider. So if you have like 50 views on a video, but you have like an 8% click-through rate, then, you know, it's not really that, I mean, it's good, but it's not really as good as it looks, because you don't have a lot of impressions yet on that particular, you know, you don't have a lot of impressions yet. So, you know, because of that, you know, you have to make sure that you are considering the amount of impressions that you're getting. But in terms of YouTube pushing out your content, you can see exactly how much YouTube is pushing out your content by looking at the impressions that they're giving you in your analytics. And then, you know, that will show you every single day, you know, hey, YouTube gave me this many impressions. And then when you see that, then you can start to understand that, you know, you're not getting people to respond as much as you might think that you are right now, because YouTube is showing you, you know, they're showing people your content, but they're just not clicking on it as much. So the second you publish a video, even on a brand new channel, YouTube is going to start testing that content in different surfaces on YouTube, or different places on YouTube. So because of that, you have that opportunity to get people to click, come in, watch, all that good stuff. So if you really do have a high click-through rate compared to the impressions that you're getting, high retention compared to the impressions that you're getting, and high watch time compared to the impressions that you're getting, then in that case, your videos will do great over time. But if it's like, hey, I'm just getting a little bit of activity and the numbers are kind of high right now because I've had like 12 people watch my video, then in that case, you know, it's going to take YouTube getting more information on that video, or people were just responding to it at a higher rate in order for it to move. So another thing to think about when it comes to your click-through rate on your videos is keep in mind that even, you know, in some cases, like, you know, if you have a click-through rate that's a little bit higher than normal, in terms of for you, you know, everything is constantly changing on YouTube. So every time a homepage loads on YouTube, it's impacting, you know, all the different videos that are being shown there. It's impacting all that different, you know, all the different click-through rates on all those videos that are being shown there. And all of that information is factored in as well when it comes to like all of those click-through rates that are constantly changing are also being considered, as well as your click-through rate that's constantly changing when they're showing your content as well. So it's having a good click-through rate, plus it's a good click-through rate compared to all of the other videos that YouTube is showing the users that you're trying to reach. What is your thoughts on the views per hour that is showing up on videos now? I think it's cool. Like anything that gives us information like that, I think it's great. Like any additional information YouTube gives us on anything, I think is fantastic. So previously I've used tools for that, but it's great. How many times a week should I upload as a new channel? Talking head content. I would work it into your lifestyle comfortably. YouTube is a long game. I mentioned this earlier, and you were here earlier as well. But like YouTube is a long game. Since it's a long game, it's really important to make sure that you are. It's really important to make sure that you are considering that, and considering you're going to be making videos for a while. So what you do not want to do, and I was given this advice too, and I didn't take it, and I burned out because of it. So what you want to do is you want to make sure that you're publishing enough that you are going to be able to sustain it for a long period of time. because sometimes your channel is going to take off quickly. Sometimes it's going to take a while. And even when your channel does well, you're still going to have to be publishing on a regular basis. So because of that, you want to make sure that you're just working your upload cadence in a comfortable way into your lifestyle so that you can make sure that you are uploading at a pace that you're going to be able to sustain for a long period of time. So what I recommend, since you're just getting started, it's taking you longer to edit videos right now. It's taking you longer to research your topic. It's taking you longer to write titles and thumbnails right now than it will in the future because you haven't gotten the workflow together yet. So because of that, I would start with one right now. And then, once you start publishing, that one video and you start getting comfortable with, if you have a lot of time, then of course you can publish more, but just start tracking how much time it takes you and then start thinking of, how much you can work that into your life, but still be able to do all the other things that you do in your life. Are there low-cost night vision cameras? My videos at night are doing astronomy and I can't use normal light, so my videos are super dark. I tried IRL an infrared flashlight, but my phone doesn't see it bright enough. I have no idea. When it comes to infrared cameras, that's not anything I've ever looked at or explored, so I really don't know. I wish I could help you there, but unfortunately I can't. How would Reaction Channel utilize shorts for growth? Do really short reactions. Woke up early to make this live chat. Welcome to the stream. Hope you're doing awesome. Seer, do you think that I need a webcam when doing horror game content? You don't need it, but letting people see you and all that is just one more layer of something that people can connect to in terms of wanting to come back to your YouTube channel. I'm almost at that one doesn't have the Q in front of it, so I'm not sure if that was for me. Let's see here. So I have a paranormal, make sure if you have a question, you put a Q in front of it because that lets me know it's for me. I have a paranormal channel and I do reviews of paranormal apps and spirit box sessions. Should I just focus on one or just keep both going? If you're doing reviews of paranormal apps and spirit box session, I'm not sure what spirit box is, but it's okay to have multiple pillars of content on your channel that serve the same audience. So what you're doing right now is you're serving people that are interested in paranormal related things. And one of those things, of course, is the video content itself. But if there are also apps and, other things related to the paranormal world that that the people you're trying to reach would be interested in, by all means, you can make content on that. But one thing that you're going to notice is over time, let's say you make a bunch of videos on the apps and then you have a bunch of videos on just paranormal stuff, then what you're going to notice over time is, people are going to respond to one over the other more. And you just have to consider that in your content strategy. It doesn't mean you need to stop doing one and only do the other. It just means you need to consider that. So for example, if you look at my channel, I have content that teaches people how to do stuff on their phones. I have content about live streaming and I have YouTube growth related stuff. And then I have a little bit of thoughtful, motivational type of stuff as well. But basically, people respond to all of it, but people respond to the growth stuff in terms of views and immediate click when I publish those videos. If it's about getting views or subscribers, you guys respond to that more because most of you are under 1,000 subscribers. Therefore, because of that, you'll click on that because you're trying to hit those milestones and you want that information. And then the tool videos, those are typically videos that will be kind of to where I'll seed it. I'll publish that video and then initially it won't do that great. And I know that, so it's not a big deal. But then long term, those will typically do okay. Sometimes they don't, but typically they do. On the mobile stuff, same exact thing. Sometimes those will do okay out of the gate, but most of the time those will also require, a little bit of sitting time for them to actually start, picking up steam. Live streaming stuff is kind of hit and miss. Live streaming tools tends to do better than live streaming conceptual stuff on my channel. But both of them, have done great and both of them have also tanked. So those are kind of back and forth. So because of that, I have to give those a lot of additional thought, a lot of additional effort for the live streaming related content. Let's see here. I'm pivoting to a new type of content on YouTube. Should I hide all? We did that one already. I've changed my YouTube channel name very quick into the game. I can no longer give super chats. How can I fix that? So changing your channel name shouldn't impact you being able to give super chats. That's the first time I've heard of that. What I would do is I would hop on, because this is something YouTube will prioritize this one, I'm guessing, because this is impacting money they receive too, because they get a cut of super chats. I would hop on Twitter. If you don't have a Twitter account, make sure that you create one as a YouTuber. It's extremely valuable for things like this. All of you should have a Twitter account. And I even have a video pinned at the top of the screen right now on a way to set up your Twitter account that can help you get views while you're simply just interacting on Twitter, just normally. But anyway, hop on YouTube and make sure you Twitter, make sure you team YouTube and YouTube creators and let them know the problem that you're having. And they'll send you just like a generic response probably, but it'll have a link to a help article. So that help article will send you in the right direction in terms of getting that fixed up. I've never heard of that. I'm not saying I've never heard of it, which means, like I have no idea in terms of like how to fix it or whatever. The best I can do with this one is just send you in the direction in terms of, a place that you can get the help. Also, as a heads up on this one, also, as a heads up on this one, you can also if you go to Google and you type in YouTube community forums, then that's going to take you to a forum as well. And YouTube staff and their trusted flaggers, which they've kind of, not using that well anymore. There's some issues there. But anyway, if you hop into that forum, then you might be able to find some help there. So make sure you're tweeting at the person or at the accounts that I mentioned on Twitter, and then also make a post in the YouTube community forums. So let's see here. So next up on our list, I've got a computer tech channel that's nearly at 4.5 thousand subs. I'm concerned that I will fall into the trap of bending some of my integrity with future sponsors asking me to be a sales arm. So here's the thing. So just because you're working with companies and you're bringing awareness to them does not mean that you have to bend. So one of the things that I will walk away from, if I have somebody, it doesn't matter how much money they're offering me. If I have somebody that offers me any type of deal on my channel, if I don't believe in the product, or if I think that company is doing something shady, or if I research them, if it's not something I'm currently using, if I research them and I see that they've ever done anything shady, then in that case, I just won't promote them because your integrity when it comes to doing this stuff is super important. And the reason for that is because if you are, spreading awareness about things that you support, you stand behind, you believe in, that you use yourself, all that good stuff, then in that particular case, when you're recommending those things, it's authentic. And when people go and use those things, for a fact that they are going to, be satisfied with, the experience that they're getting with those things. Whereas if you're like, hey, I'll take any deal somebody will give me. If you're one of those people, then in that case, you're just going to be shilling a bunch of stuff and people are going to pick up on it over a period of time. So one of the things that you'll see, and I'm not throwing tech channels under the bus here, but I'm just, saying something that is very obvious and clear, is one of the things that you'll see is when a new product is coming out, like let's say a camera, then, if a new camera is coming out, a lot of the tech channels that cover camera gear, they will all publish this video on the same day, usually somewhere around the same time, because the embargo has been lifted on that content. And, you'll see your entire homepage filled with, this content from this particular company. And that's okay. That's extremely smart on the side of the company. But when you see people participating in that lets you know that, one, they're making deals, which is awesome. High five to them for that. But when they are putting out those videos, they're going to keep putting out those videos as long as they continue, speaking well about the product. That's how they got the inside scoop on that. That's how they got the cameras early and all those things. So in some cases, if somebody, if they're like when they're reviewing stuff, things like that, if they're showing both sides of the story, that's fine. But typically, they'll always end up in favor of the camera in some way. So because of that, anytime I see those, I never click on those videos because I'm like, okay, well, this is just part of, that. And, I'll find out about, that camera later or whatever. But when it comes to your integrity, when you're working with sponsors, I just recommend that you only work with the companies that you believe in, that you would use yourself, that you do use yourself, that you research and you make sure that the people that are interacting with that are taking your recommendations, that they're going to have a good experience. Because here's what happens. The same exact thing goes for any of you that promote anything as an affiliate, even if you have your own products. When you are recommending people things and they have a bad experience, they're not going to take your recommendations anymore. So I have a problem right now with one of my videos, and I'll just share this, with you guys because we're all family here. So I'll share this with you guys. So when I have a video on my channel right now that I made for Place It, and that particular video is how to make a YouTube channel header. In that video, I tell people, go sort by free. You'll find the free stuff, and that's the stuff that you want to use if you're looking for the free stuff. And then they have the premium, and then if you use the premium, then you pay for it. I have tons of, and it's typically, younger people if I look at their channel. But I'll look at they'll complain. Oh, I went through all this stuff, made this thing, and then now I got to buy it, right? And it's just become this, consistent thing in there. I've pinned a comment, multiple comments I've pinned for that. Hey, my thing's glitching out again. Great. But like I've pinned like multiple comments and all of that, telling people like, hey, if you want the free stuff, then sort by free, so on and so forth. But I'm still getting that, negative feedback. And the part that sucks about that for me is because I wasn't clear enough. Like I take responsibility for it by just not being clear. Maybe I just kind of went over that part too fast or whatever. But every single person that is watching that video and they watch that video thinking, they weren't paying attention to that part, or I just didn't make it clear. They think that they're going to get one thing. And then for the people that didn't fully understand it and they're expecting something free and they didn't sort by the free category, and then it pops up saying you got to pay to download this. Every single person that happens to, they're never going to take my recommendation again. Right. So because of that, you have to make sure that you're bringing attention to things that you stand behind. And like in my case, you got to make sure that you're being crystal clear, about those little detailed nuances, because they do matter and they do make a difference in terms of, how people are going to take your recommendations in the future. Because the long game with YouTube, like when you're trying to do this, working with sponsors and all that stuff, is you want to be able to have a decent conversion rate. So because of that, you want to make sure that you're, holding on to that integrity that you were talking about, so that people know that you're only going to recommend the things that you, believe in, and that will, that you stand behind and all that stuff. Because, in reality, any brand that you work with, you working with them is a reflection on the choices that you're making and all that good stuff too. And all of that stuff is taken into consideration when people are taking those recommendations. So in terms of, concerning that you're going to fall into the trap of bending some of your integrity with future sponsors, draw the line. And when you draw that line, just make sure that you stick to that line. And what I mean by that is this. You're going to have sponsors that are going to try to dictate your titles. Like they're going to say, hey, we need you to put our brand name in your title, or to use this specific hashtag. No, this is my YouTube channel. I'm not going to agree to that. Right. And just say no. And in a lot of cases, when you do that, they'll say, okay, then, can we do it this way? Or, it'll open it up in terms of, other ways that you can do it. Or of course, when you say no, come with another recommendation or whatever. But, just make sure that you have that line and you're willing to hold the line. Because if you do that, you'll maintain your integrity and you won't ever have to worry about it. And all the recommendations you're going to be given are going to be solid. Your audience is going to be like, hey, he's only spreading, good stuff, when he tells me to watch this ad, or, to check out this website, or whatever things it is you're going to be bringing attention to. Let's see here. So as we keep on going down the list here, looking for those cues. If you remove a video, does that affect the watch time hours that the video had? Yes. The public watch time hours, yes. So like, for example, if you are trying to get into the partner program, right, you need that 4,000 hours of watch time. If you delete 2,000 hours worth of videos and you had, 3,000 hours worth of watch time, now you have 1,000 hours worth of watch time. So you have to get, 3,000 more instead of just the 1,000 more. I had a video do well. The next video also did great a few days later. Did the first help the second, and how? It can because the people that are interacting with your content the most recently, and enjoying it. And then of course, based on, how they interact with other content on YouTube, things they're watching at that point in time, and so on. Those are the things that help YouTube determine the content of yours that those people are going to see. So for example, if you had one video do great and people responded well to that, when you publish that next one, then YouTube is showing it to, some of those people. So you getting those people to click on that video and come in, like that can definitely help. When you have one video that's a banger and people really respond to it, that can definitely cascade into, additional content that you publish. Let's see here. So I'm going to hop back into the forum here for a few questions, and then we're going to jump back into the chat again. So hold your questions for now, just so I can make sure to continue, serving the questions that came into the forum here. And then we will jump back into the forum here in just a few minutes. But first, I do have some super chats that came in as well. Let me go ahead and answer these. So the first one here is from Giant Lifestyle. So thank you for the super chat. It says, I have a channel about side hustles people can do to make money. I have 30,000 subscribers and make about 30,000 a month from my channel. channel, but I can't seem to get more than 30 to 40 subs a day. I do upload consistently. What should I do? So if you're making money from your channel and your view counts are, consistent and growing, then in that case, subscribers aren't as important. So of course, if you're hitting those milestones, you're wanting to get play buttons, all that stuff, they are, because it unlocks features. So in that case, just make sure that you're reminding people to subscribe, tell them why to subscribe. So if you're already at the point where you got 30,000 subscribers, you're generating that income from your channel, then in that case, you already know how to keep people watching. You already know how to add value and all that. So now I would work on your call to action to subscribe. The thing that I've found to be the most effective, and this applies to my channel and across multiple genres as well that I've done with clients in the past, is front load your call to action to subscribe if you're not doing this already. And I'm only telling him this because he's an established channel and he's already went through the ranks of like learning how to keep people watching and all of that. If you're just getting started, do not listen to this advice right now. Apply this later once you pick up momentum. But basically, at the somewhere near the beginning of your video, basically have your hook where you tell them what it is you're going to be sharing with them in the video. And then as you start getting into the content, do an insert. And that insert, mine used to be, it was, if you want to learn how to grow your channel, make videos and all types of other YouTube related stuff, start now by subscribing and clicking the bell, right? So basically, the thing that I found to be the most effective there is by leading with the value that they're going to get and then closing them on the subscribe. So I would try to introduce that to your channel and try to make it as fast as you possibly can, but just think about what you're offering here. You do side hustles to help people make money, right? So that's a really easy lead in terms of a great lead into that call to action to subscribe, right? So it's like, hey, if you're wanting to learn how to make money, this is the channel for you. Or, hey, if you're wanting to, learn how to make money and, grow your income, as quick as possible, make sure you subscribe, because I put out videos like this every, I put out videos that'll help you do that every Monday or, a couple times a week or whatever the thing is, but basically fine tune it. And as you're working on that, is another tip for you here, as you're working on that call to action, use the grouping feature in your analytics and do a stack of videos that have that, a call to action that you're doing one way to where you're putting one specific type of value, and, where you consistently do that call to action that same exact way on, a stack of videos, 5 videos, 10 videos, and then do another version of it and another 5 to 10 videos and compare the two and see which ones generated the most subscribers to you on the conversion level. And then once you do that, then do like another version or 2, the same exact thing as you're publishing content over the next year. Do that same exact thing. And then what that's going to do is that's going to help you fine tune. This is exactly what I've done myself and I've done with others, is that's going to help you fine tune that call to action to where it's going to resonate the most with the people that are interacting with your content, and it'll cause your subscriber conversions to go up. So that's what I recommend. In addition to that, as a quick side note, that does turn some people off. So because of that, you are going to have some people that won't subscribe at that moment in time. So another thing that I've also found extremely high converting, so to speak, as part of that thing, was adding an additional graphic somewhere later in the stream that just pops up and reminds them as well. So basically, if you don't nail them on the front end, they already know what it is that you offer on a regular basis on your channel because you told them, and then you just have that little nudge later in the video while they're watching the content to remind them to subscribe if they haven't already. So start doing that if you're not doing those things already. Another thing as well is in terms of, getting the 30 to 40 subscribers per day. If you do notice, if you're, gunning for that subscriber count, if you do notice in your analytics, I mean, it's not that you notice, you can just go in and sort by it. But if you go into your analytics and you know the videos that currently are driving the most subscribers, then of course, that tells you right there in terms of the things that do cause people to subscribe. So start trying to unpack those a little bit and start coming up with theories on why you think people subscribe to those more than some of the other videos, and then start applying some of those theories to some of the new videos that you're doing as well. So those are some things that'll help you get started. With that. Next up, Cutting the Caboose. Danielle, hope you're doing awesome. Says, old contact lenses make ideal portholes for small model boats. Follow me for more life hacks. Oh, love it. This is why she's awesome. One of the many reasons Danielle's awesome. Love it. Thank you for the super chat there too, and the joke. Says, let's see here. So I hop back into the form here. Trying to get these done here. So the next one is from the Ultimate Quiz channel. It says they do a quiz channel, fun, and another income stream. First, thank you for all the advice. I started the Ultimate Quiz channel. Oh, okay. You know what? They did a super chat. I think I answered them before. So let me go to the next one. So Gamer Offense said, or Gamer Offense says that I want to take YouTube as a career option. They do gaming content. And the question is, I've been making videos. Some go viral before I used to get many subscribers. Now I barely get any. So all of the clues to the videos that did great and why they did great are in your analytics in terms of the numbers. Then what you have to do is look at those numbers and then try to turn those numbers, because they're just a reflection of how people responded, turn those numbers into like human emotion and human reaction and human encouragement and all that other stuff, and try to think like, okay, these videos that converted at a much higher rate, why do I think they converted at a much higher, why do I think they, converted at a much higher rate in terms of people clicking on them, or just, subscribing to the channel more. But in terms of the videos going viral, because I kind of went a little off lane there, but in terms of those videos going viral, and I'm standing up here from my back again. But in terms of those videos going viral, hopefully it's not too loud. Turn this one down. But in terms of the videos doing well previously, but they're not now, the clues are also in your analytics. So what you want to do is, for the videos that have done well in the past, you want to go in, you want to start digging into them. Look at the audience retention, look at where people dropped off. You want to look at your click-through rate from all the different traffic sources. Look at where you were getting the views from on YouTube. Also look at who was viewing the videos. So for example, where in the world they were viewing from. Look at the devices they were viewing on. Look at how old they were, all those good things. And then take all those types of things into consideration when you are, putting the other videos together. Because the videos that have done better on your channel or went viral or semi-viral, those videos, have clues in terms of why they did well. So all you have to do is dig into it, make the theories based on, what you are seeing, based on how you think people are reacting, based on what the data is telling you, and then apply those to new content that you're uploading until you can start proving some of the theories that you have are correct or incorrect. That's the idea. So next up, we've got next on our list, Ed, the reselling writer, says that they do reselling on online marketplaces. The goal of the channel is to increase subscribers. And just as a heads up, I'm going to be jumping into the chat and answering some questions directly out of the chat. We're going to go through another lightning round here in a minute. But for right now, take this off. Just curious to see if it sounds any better. But we're going to, be jumping in the chat here in just a second. But the goal of the channel here is to increase subscribers in their niche. And the question is, my niche is competitive, but I want to know what kind of tips and tricks you can suggest to me to make my video content better, or if you may see something I'm doing wrong in my videos. So right now, I'm not actually looking at anyone's video content like here on the live stream. So, I'm not going to be able to look at your videos and give you tips, but I can tell you that YouTube gives you something that's free. It's in your YouTube analytics, and it's called your audience retention reports. Those are going to tell you how to make better videos. So basically, if you look in your audience retention reports, it's going to show Little Crafty Nook says, I love it. Looks like he's getting ready to bust out with a rap. Yeah. So I have to put it up like this though, if I'm going to rap, right? That'll be rap mode, where I got to put it up like this, right? Where you're kind of like eating the microphone. So for now though, we're just going to keep it down here. But in terms of, let's see here, what are we talking about here? Making the video content better. So your audience retention reports. So basically your audience retention reports are there so that you can use that information. Basically what your audience retention reports show you is, on average, when people come into your videos, like where are people leaving, where are people staying, so that you can use that information to help you make better videos. So for example, if your videos first start and you see just a huge drop, right? You lose like 75% of your viewership in the first, few seconds of your video, then that tells you that you need to work on the thing that's happening when your video first starts. If you present content, like I do on my channel, if you present content, then in that case, you want to make sure that you're giving a really strong hook there. And you need to work on your hooks until you can get that, to come up. If you are doing other types of content that isn't, presentation content like I do, then in that case, you need to work on what it is that you're saying in your voiceover. You need to work on, if you're doing gaming content, you need to work on what it is that, like, you need to add something to your gaming content in terms of, hey, today, this is what we are accomplishing in this particular game. This is the handicap we're giving ourselves, or this is the thing that we're trying to do, or the thing we're trying to beat, or we're trying to do it within this amount of time, or whatever the thing is that you're going to make your content unique. You want to make sure that you're putting that at the beginning of your video so that people, want to watch the rest of the video to see if you're able to accomplish that thing or not, as an example of another way to do it. If you're doing like vlog content or reaction content, then in that case, highlighting a specific, moment in your video that would make people want to stick around to see that. Those are the types of things that you want to think about in terms of what you're doing at the beginning of your video. But regardless of the type of content that you make, you have to use, well, you don't have to, but to excel, you need to look at your audience retention reports so you can see the problem areas that you have in your content. You can start to identify the little details of what it is that you're doing that cause people to stay for longer periods of time and that cause people to leave. Because you'll notice over time, this is weird when I ramble on for, this long about, a particular thing, and I don't get into the next thing, fast enough, people leave. Or you might find that, hey, if I'm going through things too quickly, people leave. So, like if somebody watches your video versus somebody watching my video, they're going to respond to it a little bit differently based on their interests and the type of content they consume and just the things they like and all that. So because of that, it's important that you look at your audience retention reports for each individual video that you're uploading so you can start to uncover patterns with your content in terms of how people are responding to it. So if you notice at the beginning of all of your videos, you're just hitting that, just that huge drop off, then that tells you like, hey, everything you're doing after that drop off doesn't even really matter because you can't get people to that part of your content. So because of that, all the next videos that you put out, you should be experimenting with what happens when your videos open up. If you open up with you on camera and you see that drop, you drop like 75% in that first, handful of seconds, first, 5-10 seconds, then start experimenting with starting with some imagery with you doing a voiceover, and then try just doing some imagery with some music, and then try, doing like a little quick montage, try to do anything you can possibly think of at the beginning of your video until you can notice, your that initial retention when people first start your video starting to rise. Super important, because that's the reason we get all of the data that we get, so that we can, make better content. And another thing that you can do as well is when you are in your audience retention reports, everybody's like, hey, how do I know if my videos are good? Another thing that you can do is you can select a drop down. If you're doing this on a computer, you can do this. You can select a drop down to where you can see your relative audience retention as well as your absolute. And the difference between the two is your absolute audience retention is the default graph that you see. So that's the one that you see highlighted in the quick view in your analytics. But then when you actually click into it, that's also the default that you see. You just see the more detailed or the longer version. But you have a little drop down where you can change it to relative, and then that shows you how your video is performing compared to other videos of similar length on the platform. So then that starts to give you kind of like a what's normal, how am I doing against other videos and things like that. So it's really important, even if you're just getting started, that you do start. And I know it's overwhelming, and I know there's a lot of information. You don't want to get caught up too much in the numbers. You want to make sure you're paying attention, but you always want to make sure that you're thinking of the people, because that's what makes the numbers happen. But at the end of the day, even if you're just getting started and you have your very first video up on YouTube and it's got, 100 views on it, go in and look and see how people are responding to that content in your audience retention reports, so that you can make sure that you're, doing things in the way that people respond to. It does have a lot more puffs in it. Totally. Here, I'm going to put the windscreen back on it. Thank you, Hein Bad. I appreciate that. Thanks for the feedback there. So let's see here. So next up, I've got D4 says, I got a standing desk to avoid back issues. Nick, is the desk I work and do YouTube. So this is, because I'm standing right now. So, you can see this one's, pretty high also. But I use like a bar chair here for this one. But this one right here is also like a sit-stand desk as well, because I do the same exact thing. Because that just helps me, because I have like an internal problem. I have an injury. So because of that, I use this one the same exact way. So I basically just swap it back and forth throughout the day. And then I actually have for my music stuff, because I'll spend a considerable amount of time in there too. I have legs on the way, because I already have the surface part or the top, but I have legs on the way for that one that sit and stand too, so that I can also make that adjustment there, because it's getting bad. So I have to be a little bit more proactive on taking care of it. So let's see here. So as we keep going down our list here, Chantel says, hydrate. Hey, thank you for that. I appreciate it.
If you're enjoying the show, remember to give it a thumbs up and share it with a friend right now.
This thing's glitching out on me again. That's no fun. Okay, so let's hop back into the chat here. So if you have a question, and drop it in here right now. We're going into another lightning round. Make sure you put a Q in front of your question so that I can know it's for me and not a side conversation in the chat, and we will we'll crush through as many of these as we can here over the next few minutes. Okay. Yeah, I know. So we just got a little bit left on the stream. So it was doing okay, and then suddenly it just started flickering, which kind of is frustrating. But I'm just gonna let it roll here. I'm actually just gonna turn off the switching and all of that stuff, and then it's still gonna flicker though. But I'm just gonna change the view here for the sake of it at least not switching around while it's flickering. So the first question here. Oh, it just jumped up. Hold on 1 second here. Let me scroll up. Okay, hydrate. There we go. Okay, so Jeff's Grab Bag says that if I started blogging for 2 channels with separate genres, should I do separate blogs or could they work on the same one? Have art appreciation and comedy gaming channels. If you mean like YouTube channels, then in that case, I would definitely do 2 different YouTube channels because the art appreciation is a totally different audience than the comedy gaming. So I would absolutely do separate. And if I was on a blog, I would do the same exact thing. I would completely separate those. And the reason that I would completely separate those is because somebody that's interested in comedy gaming isn't necessarily interested in the art appreciation or even art at all, and vice versa. So because of that, you want to make sure that you are, building the assets up for the audience that's going to consume it. So if it's written content, if it's a podcast, if it's, video content, whatever, you want to make sure that you are, building it around that, thing that you're doing for that particular type of viewer so that your entire blog can be consumed by that one viewer, or so that your entire YouTube channel can be consumed by that viewer, your entire podcast can be consumed by, that particular type of person. Let's see here. Next up, is there any specific rules / guidelines when it comes to videos that have to do, especially with the thumbnail and title, with depression and suicide? And I'm fine, by the way. So first off, glad to hear that you're fine. That was like that. As I'm reading that, I'm like, But one thing that you do need to make sure that you are being mindful of is that they are looking at your thumbnail and they are assessing the risk involved with your thumbnail. So, for example, if you just go to Google and you type in Google Cloud Vision, one of the things that you're going to see there is as you scroll down the page, you're going to have the option to upload your thumbnail. When you upload your thumbnail, it's going to show you how they're interpreting what it is that you have. So then if you notice something to where it's marking it as like violent or something like that, then in that case, that lets you know that there's a really good chance that it's going to end up in restricted mode. So because of that, just make sure that you run your thumbnails on that or through that so you can see how they're interpreting it on their end. And for anybody here that does any type of high risk content or you're using imagery that might be high risk, your games too, you definitely want to make sure that you're running your thumbnails through that. Next up, let's see here. Nick's speech flow is also good for rapping. He speaks faster than all mumble rappers. Nice. Let's see. I actually do. I do rap just for fun as like a hobby. Let's see here. So next up, we've got building a music lyric video channel. I do refrain from using copyright music, even if it's only a claim and not a strike. I do have 3 claims though. Should I delete those before I apply for the partner program? So if you have a lot of content on your channel and you have those 3 claims, you'll be fine. Like the claims aren't really that big of a deal unless it's like a problem. And it's really going to come down to the reviewer that's looking at that and deciding if they're going to let you into the partner program or not. It's going to come down to them. So because of that, I wouldn't really worry about it personally, but if they do decline you, then I would just remove those and resubmit if they say that that's the reason that you got declined. Next up, Chantel says queue for questions. Absolutely. We got Doug dropping the lightning round. Transition our audio podcast to talking head on YouTube. Good idea or no? So if you are going to do a podcast on YouTube, I absolutely recommend that you add video to it. And the reason for it is absolutely people do listen to audio only podcasts on YouTube, but the video adds that layer. I mean, we're on a video platform, right? At least for now. They're probably going to have some sound stuff in here soon, but for right now, it's video. It's a video platform. So because of that, I would just make your podcast appropriate for the platform by making sure that you have a video with it. In terms of uploading your podcast, a couple things to think about is you can absolutely upload your podcast as the podcast itself, but also I recommend doing what Joe Rogan and other people like him do, and that's make clips as well of different highlights of your podcast. And when you do that, make sure that when you are optimizing those thumbnails, titles, and the actual topics in terms of what it's going to look like from the outside, also make sure that you're thinking of like, hey, if I re-interviewed this guest, then of course we're not going to optimize everything around the guest unless they're super famous, because you have to know who that person is in order to be interested in this content. So because of that, we're going to optimize around the topics always. And when you optimize around the topics, then that gives you the opportunity to tap into people that are interested in the topic versus just the guest, again, unless they're like super famous or something. When it comes to that also, if you do decide to do the clips version with your video podcast, if that's the route that you take, then one of the cool things about that is for the people that enjoy the long form full podcast, you get to serve them with that content because they like to listen to that maybe while they're working or exercising or whatever. And then when you do the clip stuff, the win there is for the people that just want those little sound bites, then you're also serving them as well. So, you kind of take your podcast and you are putting it out there in a way that makes it consumable for people based on the amount of time that they have in that moment, or just how they prefer to, consume content. So like, let's say for example, like I'm clicking around YouTube and your podcast seems interesting to me, but I just don't have an hour to spend listening to your podcast. But if I happen to notice, YouTube suggesting a clip to me that's 5 minutes long about a specific, topic that I'm interested in, then in that case, I'll click on that all day long. I've always got 5 minutes, right? So that's kind of the idea. Let's see here. How to raise subscribers and views on a gaming channel. I have 25. Keep going. Right now, of course, you want to get more subscribers because it unlocks, different features on YouTube. And then, of course, we all feel good, like, hey, I got a bunch of subscribers, so that's cool. But getting the subscriber thing, it's definitely, cool. But right now, you have 25 subscribers. You're just getting going. Right now, if you focus on the value that you're bringing to your viewers and you focus on the content in terms of the experience that they're having with your content, then the subscribers will come. So what I recommend that you do right now is that you focus on views. And the way that you get more views is by learning how to get people to click, enjoy your content, and further engage. So when you start doing those things, then your subscriber count's going to increase as well. But in order for your subscriber count to increase, you're going to need to be in front of more people that are not subscribed to your channel. Therefore, you need to focus on views. And when you focus on views, then of course the subscribers will come. And then, once you start having all of that happen, you start gaining momentum, then that's where you can go in like we were doing before, where I was telling him about, the different calls to action you can use and all that at the beginning to increase your conversions. That's where you start introducing that kind of stuff. But right now, focus all of your efforts, because you're just getting started. Focus all of your efforts on understanding the viewers that you're trying to reach, on understanding, how to get the viewers that you're trying to reach to click on what it is that you're making in terms of coming up with good topics, making thumbnails that they respond to. And look, when it comes to thumbnails, a pretty thumbnail isn't always the answer, right? Sometimes it is, sometimes it's not, but it's really important to make sure you're just learning what people respond to versus assuming that you make a good thumbnail. So make sure that you're thinking of the topic, making a good thumbnail, making a good title that's compelling. Like getting them to click is huge, because you're going to have to do that to have a sustainable, YouTube channel. And then from there, learning how to make great content that people respond to and further engage in. And then as you start doing those things, then YouTube will start showing your content to more people, and then more people will come in and they'll start watching your stuff. They'll start loving it. They'll start subscribing to your channel. After that happens, you start picking up momentum. That's when you start, trying to fine tune, if you're trying to hit certain milestones and stuff, that's where you do that. Do you do music too? Yes, I do. We actually have, and none of my music's going to be in it when it first starts, but I'll probably put some stuff in there in the future. But we actually have a whole music resource coming out for you soon. It's going to, it's called Creator Mix. And I don't know if you can see that or if it's too bright, but yeah, it's called Creator Mix. And with that, it's a free resource of music that you're going to be able to use as a content creator in your videos. You're going to be able to use it in your live streams. You can use it in the background of your podcast, all that stuff. So that's coming out soon. But I also make music as well. I'm not like great at it, but I can put together some stuff that sounds like okay. But I focus on more like electronic type stuff. And I recently got like bongas and I'm not sure how to say it. I think it's like djembe or something like that. But it's like this like African like single drum. But I've got like a little hand drum like kit set up over there and all that stuff, and it's all mic'd up so I can get it into the computer. So that's what I do for my hobby. Right? Is that stuff. Let's see here. So we did that one already. So Spontaneous Crusade says, hey, Nick, what's up? What's up, Spontaneous Crusades? Hope you're doing awesome. Says, let's see here. Does YouTube fix the video quality of your videos eventually down the road as far as the compressor they use? Thanks ahead of time. So they do change that in terms of what it is that they're, the actual codec, I believe it is, that they're using to serve your videos. So they do change that over time. But in terms of, you uploading a piece of content and then YouTube showing the content as it was intended, you can typically do that right away. So what I recommend that you do is there's Google help pages on YouTube settings. So just make sure that you're matching their required settings, and it should look pretty close to how you intended it when you upload it, as long as you follow those settings. Let's see here. So next up, condenser or dynamic mic for live streaming. So I use the Shure SM7B. Strongly recommend that. This microphone here, this is a Lewitt. I actually got this free with a mixer. But this particular mic here, this is also, you hear how this sounds. But basically what you want is you just want it to where if you have like a noisy environment, you just want to make sure that if you move the mic away, or that it lowers it, so that air conditioners, things like that, aren't coming through on your live stream. But experiment, like if you. I won't say experiment, because that means you're having to buy a bunch of microphones. So just keep that in mind. Let's see here. So advice for entertainment genre. Okay. So thanks for all the great advice. Good thumbnail strategy, ? 4% increase CTR with a 65% retention on 65 or 15-minute videos. Not bad. So on the retention though, you definitely or on your click-through rate, you definitely need to work on that, depending on the amount of impressions that you're getting, of course. But yeah, definitely in your particular case, I would start working on the click-through rate. Start working on your thumbnails, titles, maybe even the topics of your videos, so that you can definitely get that click-through rate up. Because if you're getting 16% or 65% retention on a 15-minute video, like you're doing all right there. So so your slow point is getting people to click more. So I would definitely work on your thumbnails. Your opinion on collabs. Collabs are awesome. So especially you, right? Like you're in the barbecue space. You guys, when you collab, it can be really cool. So I would definitely try to collab with other barbecue channels, other food channels and all of that. Collaborations is a great way to grow channels. Like in some cases, you'll get, like a small hit here of just like a little influx of subscribers. Other cases, it'll be a big hit just depending on the channel. But in the food space, definitely try to collaborate as much as you possibly can. And in addition to like any gains that you would get on the channel, another really cool thing about collaborations is you also create relationships. So, through collaborations, you create, other YouTube friends, and those are great in situations to where, let's say there's a change somewhere on YouTube, you can hit them up like, hey, I'm seeing this in my stats. Are you guys seeing anything similar? Because they're in your space, right? So, having those relationships is really valuable when it comes to YouTube, in addition to any of the actual gains that you get from the channel. So I'm going to say thank you to everybody for hanging out in the stream today. It's been a fun stream. I hope that you learned something during the stream today that you're going to be able to apply to your YouTube channel. And I do know, because there is a lot of channels in here that are, just getting started. If there's anything mentioned that, that's like, hey, I've never heard of that before, or, I don't know what he's talking about, or, hey, I know what that thing is that he's talking about, like the audience retention as an example. I know what that thing is that he's talking about, but I've never really looked in it or dug in. I really encourage you to go and start, looking at those things now, so that you can, just get more familiar with, your analytics and how people are responding to your content, so that you can, just start fine tuning things with what it is that you're doing. And if you are just getting started as well, like I do want to, just remind you that, this whole thing with YouTube, it's a process, right? It's a learning process. So if you're just getting started, if you're not getting the results that you're after yet, it's okay, hang in there, because, it could just be that you just haven't, learned how to do the things that you need to do yet in order to start getting the results. Because with YouTube, it's more than just uploading content. Like you have to do all of the things, right? So because of that, in some cases, if you're just getting started, like right now, like you don't even know what you don't know yet in some cases. For some of you, like I know a lot of you, there's people in here with experience too, but for those of you that are just getting started, you might not know what you don't know yet. So don't get frustrated. Instead, just, do the things that we're talking about here in this live stream in terms of going to your analytics, figuring out how people are responding to your content. Because at the end of the day, the only way to win on YouTube is to make content that people enjoy and they have a good experience with. If you do that and you learn how to get those people to click and you do that over and over and over again, you'll do awesome. So you have to learn how to do those things in terms of making that content. So you just make sure that you just go in, you're paying attention to how people are responding to what it is that you're doing, and that you are, just thinking of the viewers that are interacting with your content, because all the numbers are great and, they can definitely give you tons of insight into what it is that you're doing, and you should use them as a guide. But the numbers that you see in your YouTube analytics, and Jesse, he has a channel here in Thailand. They've got like 5 million subscribers on it. He's got like multiple with like hundreds of thousands here in Thailand. But, his way that he explains analytics is that it's like a mirror, right? In terms of how your audience is responding to it. And I love that analogy. So, when you're looking in your analytics, look at the numbers, but also think to yourself like, okay, those numbers are a reflection of how people are responding to what it is that I'm doing. So therefore, what can I interpret through these numbers in terms of, like if people are leaving your videos when they start, then that means you're not able to grab their attention when they first start. You're not giving them a reason to watch, right? As a starting point. So, just make sure that you are taking some of this information and you're applying it to what it is that you're doing, because, the knowledge is great. And there's a lot of people that will hang out in this stream or in these streams, and they'll listen to the information and they'll get to know the information. They can even repeat it, but they just don't apply it, right? So you just have to make sure that you internalize the things that you learn on my channel and others that you watch, that make content like mine, but that you also apply all the different things that you learn, because that's how you get things in motion. So thank you everybody for hanging out. I hope you have an awesome rest of your weekend. Thank you for spending your time here with me. I super appreciate it. And everybody have an awesome rest of your weekend. And I will see you next week, Saturday, 9 a.m. Eastern, same time, same place right here on the channel. And I hope to see you guys back here as well. And everybody have a awesome, rest of your weekend, like I mentioned before. And I will see you next time. And really quick, time to get going says that you're going to be in Thailand soon. I'm up in Chiang Mai. So definitely send me a DM on Twitter or something once you get into town. So everybody have an awesome rest of your weekend, and I will see you guys next week, next Saturday at 9 a.m. Eastern. And also, remember, if you would be so kind, if you are looking for, a tool for your YouTube channel, remember to check out Tubebuddy, live streaming. Make sure you check out StreamYard. If you're looking for an easy to use video editor and screen recorder, Camtasia is the one to go to. Spreadshop is a great place for your merch, and of course, Place It. If you're looking for any graphics or anything like that for your videos, make sure you check them out as well, because they help support the channel, which helps me continue to, deliver this content to you for free. So thank you guys so much for hanging out, and I will see you guys next time.